And everything running smoothly, Dave. Best of 7 incoming. The grand finals of the 2v2 World Cup of 2020. MBL did spill something on his keyboard and was just using a hair dryer to fix that. So, okay. The PC was a bit slow. He's good to go. Before I do the proper intro, I just want to say thanks to everyone who's watching this. Microsoft, they are supporting this game massively right now with DE and then all of these tournaments. But this isn't coming from Microsoft's mouth, of course. Microsoft would not have done that. DE would not exist if it wasn't for everyone watching on YouTube and on Twitch. And so you all made this happen, all right? Thank you very much. And it's not just this year. It's been many years. The OGs who are in chat have been here since the low viewer days. So thank you for supporting me and supporting the whole team. Robo's been doing a tremendous job. Tarzes and T-West helping out with Silver League. All the co-casters I've been able to bring in. And, of course, Microsoft with a prize pool and all the subs out there who chipped in by subscribing to the stream. But that's out of the way. Viper's in the blue. He's playing as the Huns. MBL is in the green, playing as the Mayans. And then Mr. Yo in the red, Dave, playing Franks. And then we have Lix, the YOLO player from China, playing Ethiopians.
We see kind of a classic Civ comp from Team Norway here. Huns and Mayans. You take us back. You were talking about 5 years ago. We might have seen something like this in a 2v2 Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Now with a best of 7, like normally in a best of 5, we wouldn't see Huns here. We would usually see another Civ like maybe Lithuanians or Berbers or whatnot. So what do you think about that Civ selection for Viper?
I think it's nice because Huns are a solid Paladin Civ, but they're not the best. They're maybe 4th or 5th or 6th, something like that. But Mayans are top tier Archer Civ. And it's kind of similar to what we're seeing on the other side. I mean, maybe it's even stronger for China if you think about it, because Frank's one of the best civs in this spot, and then Ethiopian's also one of the best civ in the Archer role.
Did Lix take Viper's color, or is that the predetermined colors for the tournament?
Predetermined colors,
okay,
yeah.
Okay. It was messing with my mind, dude. I kept looking at Lix and thinking that it was Viper. I'm so used to seeing him in yellow.
It would be confusing. I guess Yo loves his red, and so it would be confusing as well to have China with blue and green. But yeah, that's how we have it right now. And what is MBL doing? He's sending a villager forward. Game 1.
And he's not even Goths. Remember, we saw this in King of the Desert, how annoying he could be with a laming villager.
Yeah.
We're going to see it again in this 2v2 World Cup. He's going to run right into the ostrich from Mr. Yo, so he could potentially lame those. And there's stone there and gold he can wall up to.
So this is something that is allowed. I want to clarify in the rules. You cannot steal elephants with your scout in this tournament. You can steal sheep, all that's fine. But if you want to sacrifice a villager and send it forward, you could do this. You're welcome to.
This is risky.
But
No,
it's so
weak.
risky.
It's weak already from the Lion, and Yo sees that it's weak. He's signaling it to his allies, so maybe Lix is going to come over with his scout.
Dave, I'd say back away from the mic just a little bit. I know Dave just got a new PC setup recently. I think that's probably it. But yeah, the elephant's coming in. Dave, I don't know if MBL goes home, but it doesn't feel like it was that worth it to take out the ostrich and have that idle time walking across the whole map.
Is that better now? Yes, no, maybe?
I think it's better now. I think you were too close to the mic at times, so when you get really excited, it would clip a little bit. So we're good.
I will endeavor to keep the mic away from my mouth.
It's like the more exciting it gets, the more you lean in, though. So it's kind of tough. And MBL's just going to wall in the gold. What a way to start off the finals. Yo did spot that, but there's also not much Yo can do except pull his own villager with his scout to fight that. He doesn't see the gold, though, so he doesn't know his main gold is getting walled in. You good?
Yeah, Yo's going to be in a difficult position here.
Yeah.
No access to the main gold. His other gold is forward. His ostrich have been taken.
Mm-hmm.
How does he even access gold at this point?
Well, that's going to be a surprise to him, but if the plan was to go 20 pop scouts, he's going to get 20 pop scouts in. And MBL, he's just now adding a barracks, Dave. I don't really know. This is certainly not going to be a drush for him. I think MBL might actually struggle against early scout numbers. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lix, something he's known for and is extremely good at, is going for fast feudal into archers. This is super quick. And Viper is probably going for scouts for his team and is actually going to be behind the time of Yo. So expect China to be up to the next age a bit faster.
I feel like Ethiopians is the only civ you can do this with, too.
With archers, yeah, because you can
Yeah.
pull so many vills off of food. You don't need it if you're getting plus 100 and plus 100.
And Viper's map, I don't know if you have noticed, but Viper's map is not good. Like, he's got that back gold,
Mm-hmm.
but his woodline options are very limited. And then look at where all of his stones, his berries, and his secondary is. It's all forward, and that's against Licks, which is never a good player to have forward resources against. So he might have some problems here just solidifying his position.
Okay, so Yo, one thing people might not know about Yo is he streams. He doesn't stream on Twitch. He streams in a Chinese website, but he casts games from tournaments after he plays. So he played yesterday and then watched all the games from Norway. And something that MBL did was he made a very late drush and he sent it over to the Archer player. And MBL said in the interview when we asked him about it, he says, I like to drush the Archer player. This is such an MBL thing to do. Super late walls, super late drush. But Yo knows that's coming, so Licks should be able to prep some defense for that. I think Viper could really be in harm's way if Licks and Yo double Viper, because MBL will still be in Dark Age.
Yeah, and drushing the Archer player here, like normally you want to drush the Archer player because it's slow, right?
Yeah.
Like Archers are so slow to get out, but with Ethiopians, Licks going up on 20 pop, by the time you get there, there's going to be Archers on the field
Yeah, I
to
think
counter your drush.
now the big thing is how much do you keep at home? If you keep 3 archers at home for 3 militia, that's a win for Norway. So you probably want to push out and pressure Viper with your first wave. And now, now MVL, who I guess realizes that Yo's waiting for him, is going the other way with his drush, which I don't think is going to be good at all because Yo could see that, have walls up, and have scouts. So this is an awkward start for MBL in Norway.
Yeah, what's MBL going to do with that? Kill the ostrich? Oh, wait. They're already dead.
They're already dead. Oh, that's funny. And Licks,
Yo discovered his main gold was lame, by the way, and he's just
Yeah?
walling to it. He's going to make it part of his wall, maybe.
okay, it's like your walls become mine, that type of a deal. And Yo's just tracking the militia, but I think this is good for MBL. I think these scouts should come forward soon. Then again, Licks could possibly win a little 1v1 if he has Spearman with his archers, Dave, and that's what he's going to work towards, I think. MBL still in Dark Age, on his way to Feudal now.
And that's, I mean, it's looking decent for MBL. He's fully walled his base. We don't even have to mention that at this point. MBL's always going to be fully walled.
Yeah.
But he's made it happen once again. And this is the kind of the position you want him in, right? You want him untouched. You want him with a drush on the field, and you want him going up to Castle Age where he can apply pressure.
Yep. Now, if that happens, if he's not contributing anything to military, then Viper's in a position where he could be doubled, but it's a good start for Viper because it's only 1 Spearman. He does have some
Excellent
very
micro.
weak scouts, but yeah, he's kept them alive and got value out of that, Dave.
Yeah, and there goes like all the speed that Licks had with that Archer rush, getting up faster than maybe other civilizations could. He just threw it all away because there goes the army.
He
And
needed
now you have,
to have
you have
2
no
Spearmen.
advantage.
Yeah, you could have pushed the berries if you had 2 Spearmen. He needed to have that. There still will be more coming, though, Dave. Or is there actually Licks only on 2 archers? About to be 4. I guess Yo's coming over, but overall, I think Norway, after it didn't look great, will be kind of okay with this.
Yo's making his way through those walls around his main gold. He'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
but
That's
he's
so
walled out
annoying.
his secondary, and it's just you're just left thinking like, how are you ever going to produce knights if you're going to be mining from maybe 1 or 2 tiles only?
Especially if MBL can go up to Castle Age. MBL, he will link up to Castle Age now, and with Mayans, there's no way you're stopping Crossbow. So it really comes down to the feudal age pressure, putting Viper behind, and Viper recognizing that after taking a good fight already, Dave, he's getting armor. So he wants to fight 2 people all on his own.
Yeah, and he's staying home too. It's just fantastic recognition from Viper. MBL's telling him, I'm fully walled. Viper's looking at his map. He's Huns, so he can't incorporate houses as part of his wall.
Yep.
He's playing completely open. He's overproducing military and keeping it in defense. He knows he's going to be 2v1.
Yeah, he's only 54 food left on that bush. Viper will save all of the villagers, and I think with 1 or 2 more scouts, you could definitely consider
He
this.
can defend this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that tower as well, how he's towered. It's not perfect to protect the wood line, but it does protect part of the wood line and also the gold.
Well, he knows that all he has to do is stay alive. MBL's going to be ahead of both of them regardless, so he can invest in a tower like that. He can invest in more scouts as long as he stays alive and doesn't get his base completely wiped.
Yeah, so he's not pulling any punches here, producing a lot. The tower paying off there. It's looking good for Norway as MBL's untouched, and Viper could take a fight right now if he wanted to.
Viper can clear up both of these armies with the upgrades that he has. Like Yo does. Yo's Franks, so he doesn't get bloodlines. He does have 54 HP, but he doesn't have armor. He doesn't have the extra attack. Viper is going to have fully upgraded feudal scouts in a bit, I would imagine. Oh no, he's going for a market.
All right, market for the Viper. He's getting bloodlines now. Still hasn't taken the fight, and he's got idols on the woodline and also lost a villager there. So this is the downside of building one tower for both areas of your woodline. Are you surprised Viper didn't engage against this yet?
No. I mean, it's Viper style, right? You wait until you know you can win the fight. You don't take it on like a 50-50 chance unless you absolutely have to. And look, he's waiting until they separate. Now Yellow's completely separate from Yo. And Yo has to head back, and now Viper can take a favorable engagement.
Look at Yo expecting the crossbows. He is already on Stone Dave, so he could build towers, but MBL's here. MBL will just walk right by. This is huge for Norway.
I'm wondering, like, do you walk by here or do you sit under there? No. I guess you walk by because Yo doesn't have anything.
Yeah, that was so good. Now look at all the farms that are idle. Yo is on the way to Castle Age, but that's not something Yo wanted. Yo figured with some house walling, he could mine stone, he could mine gold, and he could have towers everywhere. And now he cannot take his wood at all. What a play from MBL.
That all stems from the fact that MBL knows Yo's not on his gold, too.
That's
like, he knows Yo's gold position, so he knows he has to pressure over here. Doesn't even have to worry about the left side of the map.
We've seen so many games where Viper's been doubled and then MBL just booms it out. This would be another one for Norway. There's some potential for Viper to bring his scouts into Yo, too. I mean, Viper has nowhere else to go. He can't use his scouts against Elix right now, who's adding 3 ranges as he's halfway to Castle Age.
This is so, like... So many problems caused by just 5 crossbows from MBL. It's such a small army, and it's completely disrupting Yo's eco.
Yo has to bring his scouts back to deal with that, and he could do so, but Viper's already on the way,
And Viper's scouts are better than Yo's scouts.
Good fight for Viper. I don't know if he was waiting to see what Yo was up to. Actually, Yo could have used those scouts against MBL's new crossbows, so maybe that's why Viper was being so patient there. Good defensive gates and walls here from Yo. I think Lix is going to need to send some help this way. Keep in mind, Viper is going to be the latest to Castle Age, and China are really good at coming back from these types of situations.
Viper, though, his eco is looking pretty steady, like 38 villagers. He's adding a couple more stables. He's going to go, looks like 3 stable night production.
Wow. Yeah, pretty much untouched after the early damage, and it wasn't a lot of damage, Dave. He only lost 1 villager. And now you have Yo with the potential to make knights. Woodline is towered now. That's a good tower from Yo. I didn't see he was building that.
Yeah, he put that down really early. You can tell that Yo just knows exactly what areas of his economy he needs to solidify. And look on the other side of the map. Lix is sneaking into Viper's base now.
Oh, God. Like, so many other teams in this tournament would have died already to Norway. But China, they have the ability to stay alive.
Oh, this could be so bad for Viper. Oh, my goodness.
1. Just 1. He reacts nicely. Yeah. It should be more than 1.
Reaction.
I'm surprised it's not more than 1. Can Viper... Is he going to be able to make enough knights to clear this, Dave? It looks like he'll be able to, but everything that MBL had has been cleaned up in Yo's base.
Casual hole on the woodline for Viper.
And now he has to run. Oh, Viper! And Yo is the... Lix, excuse me, is the master of going YOLO. And I think he has ballistics already with 3 ranges queued up with archers. Viper went from being in a good spot, Dave, to an awful position.
Yep, he had 2 overchops on that woodline, and he did not notice the second. He only noticed the first one. Very unfortunate for him, especially with triple stable production that he wanted to happen. He's actually getting light cav for his scouts coming back, so he may actually be able to clear this up with just his own army.
Oh, God. He lost so much more than Yo did.
Yep.
But MBL is in that free boom situation. 50 villagers for him and Mayan cheap archers. Lix on his own now because Yo just a bit late to this party. And Yo does not have armor yet. I think both teams engage, but this should be better for... I don't know.
It's excellent micro from Lix here.
Yeah.
Like he was outmanned and outgunned in that fight. And he got all the value that he could. Yo just kind of peeking his head in. Now he's going to go back again. So it's going to swing in favor of Norway. But like you said, Viper lost so much more than Yo. He was playing open. And he had, at the beginning of the game, he had his army back in defense. But when he went forward, you know, teams like China can just take advantage of that and punish you really, really hard for that.
Look at Lix adding the 4th range now. He's actually gone to a 2nd TC. It's common misconception. I think we appreciate the YOLO-ness from Lix and how all in he goes, but he can play standard as well, and he'll have almost full upgrades on these crossbows with so many producing. And MBL also on 3 ranges, also just now going to the 3rd TC, so it has that Vil lead. But it's almost like MBL is clearly the strongest player in this game with the strongest position right now. And then it's 2 and 3 is China, and then there's Viper after those big losses.
And he's still playing open. That's the problem for him, right? He needs military home and defense, because at any point, if China feels safe at home, Lix can move over to Viper's base again and do exactly the same thing.
Yo still can't take that main gold. I think at this point that has been more than worth it for MBL. You've sent that villager forward. It's a tough thing to counter. Yo still doesn't have chain barding armor. He did use his scout to look to see where the Norwegians were, and he's doing it with another one. So he knows that they're over here. And now Norway choosing to run away. This is a high-quality game, Dave.
I thought when they were in the middle of Yo's base and Viper scouts were coming over, I was thinking, ooh, this is a quick wash for Norway. But Lix, you know, manages to bail his teammate out, and that's what these... That's what this Chinese team is so good at doing. Their teamwork is off the charts.
But MBL, with more crossbows, I think the only problem for Norway is they're expecting China to try and come up this hill. And China says, no, no, no. We're not going to take the fight where you want it. We're going to immediately shift. And while there's potential for the Norwegians to go kill Yo, they have to save Viper. So Viper building a town center on the goal, just now looking to get 3. They have the numbers, but will Viper have eco in just a moment? This is crazy.
I feel like this is the correct decision from Viper, though, not to wall here in this position. You just can't get a safe wall.
Probably won't even
Why
happen.
even bother? Yeah, why even bother?
Well, it comes down to MBL, really.
There's
and MBL still hasn't
line.
been hit. I think that's the same hole as earlier. But the TC is nicely timed. The big thing is the army numbers for MBL. Somehow China need to find a way to engage against that before MBL gets to Imperial. Need to buy a lot of time. And this is how you can control fights while having a fewer units. You just have to push out and make the move. And maybe MBL and Viper will be regretting not moving out. Or maybe they'll feel very comfortable right now as they feel they've had this army trapped.
It is trapped. However, China could waste a lot of their time back here and build up eco behind it. Viper is still behind.
Oh, MBL losing some crossbows. A nice little area to find to keep those alive, though. How is that a thing?
How is Yo
repositioning?
I guess Yo is only putting a 2nd TC down, so Viper, technically Viper is ahead in eco now.
That's true. And the light cav are, it's a bit deceiving when you look at the numbers. You think Viper doesn't have many knights, but light cav are pretty beastly in this spot. There's 12 of them with the upgrades, and Norway just goes for the full surround. MBL has too many crossbows, right? Maybe.
Yeah,
wait!
They never win that fight.
But not at his base, Dave. Not at his base, and there's still that hole. MBL hasn't been reacting because he's microing. And if China run in there with knights, MBL, he's won one fight, but he's losing elsewhere.
Yeah, and there's holes into the farming eco in the middle too, and Yo is just applying so much pressure. Losing that force like that in defense from MBL right away.
Wow.
It's not what he needed, and it's going to take him so much time to get back over to his base. China is so good at shifting focus.
Dave, they did exactly that. They knew they were going to lose that fight in the middle, so throughout that time, they created more military and pressured MBL when he was focused elsewhere. And while MBL is good at keeping villagers alive, this puts him behind the Vil count of Lix, who is not close to clicking up to Imp. MBL has still just done so.
That's going to be a good boost for MBL, but Lix... The numbers, the production from him, and the eco behind it is amazing.
I think now they shift
really
to Viper. I think now, with the rest of your force, You either go all in to kill MBL or you shift everything over to Viper because MBL's probably sending everything back home.
Well, I think you know that Viper's not fully walled, so you could justify
Raiding,
not
maybe?
even a full shift, just like 5 or 6 knights from Yo.
True.
Or a couple groups of knights to go into Viper's eco and pull him back a little bit. Right now, they're going to solidify their position on this hill in front of MBL's base.
If MBL is 17 on food, it's not a lot, but if he can get Arbalest,
it's Mayans. He's fine.
If he can get Arbalest, even just Bracer makes such a big difference, right? And here's the shift. So it's knights and crossbows. I think China needs to buy time until Lix is an imp, and the only way to do that is keep MBL at Viper's base at all times.
Viper just sent MBL food. That's great communication.
Good move.
MBL was low on food. Viper sent him some, but Viper's losing vills on the farms. This is what I was talking about. Just some raids.
Yeah. Wonder if Yo will choose to take out the TC or if we'll choose to spread out the knights. That's a big clear up there for China, but still not against what they need to kill Dave. MBL big fight on the hill.
Speaking of big clear ups, yeah, there goes Lix's army on that hill. And MBL is going to be a steamroller here, an imp. If he gets a castle, if he gets obsidian arrows, Tristan, he won't even need siege to back him up.
It's not the first time we've seen Viper, who's on the brink of dying, just place a castle, and now the gates from Viper! Oh, the town center, the castle, everything! This is one way to deal with an army. That's huge. He's still taking losses, Dave, but it's on MBL now to win the game for Norway. Bracer and Arbalest barely coming in, but those upgrades normally win games in this spot. Can China hold on?
Yo, now with 6 stables and going up to the Imperial Age.
Oh my God.
So they've given Yo time to get back into this game, dude, and that's very, very dangerous. And credit to Lix for you know, distracting and giving his teammate time to boom up his economy.
That's just, both teams have been making the right calls. MBL does not have a castle, so we won't see obsidian arrows, but still Arbalest can take out buildings pretty quick.
Right now.
Yeah, okay.
But he's really struggling against the knights. It's actually going to be denied by 3 knights from Yo until he can get some more Arbalest back there.
You know, I feel like that castle might not even go up if Lix arrives with these numbers, because he can micro down low numbers of arbs that MBL will be patrolling forward. Plus, you have some knights raiding the other areas. Plus, you have a ram from Yo. There's a lot going on at MBL's base.
Yeah, Yo's keeping up the production as he's going into Imperial Age, and he's even looping knights around behind.
Oh my
There's
God.
exposed golds there from MBL.
So yes, MBL has that force that seems unkillable, but Yo will be an imp soon, and MBL is just attacking houses as he's trying to defend his eco. Incredible game, Dave. And I can honestly say, after watching this entire tournament, I feel like the only team that would have not died to Norway by now is China.
Yep. They really understand the necessity of applying pressure in a 2v2 situation.
Dave, Viper at 72 vills, Yo at 80. I feel like both players are receiving some sling, both carry players. If you call Yo
Viper's
the carry
Bloodline
player.
is going to get hit again for the 15,000th time this game.
And MBL now switching over to Yo. It's important that Yo does not research Cavalier in a forward stable because buildings will start to melt. And it's important he masses, but there he is on Viper's woodline. Good reaction from Viper, Dave, which he's done a lot this game.
Oh, dude, MBL's got obsidian arrows, and he's going to walk right into Yo's base.
There's only 37, though. If Yo gets Cavalier with armor, with 17, 20-some Cavalier, he might be able to clear that, Yo.
Was there a watchtower there? I feel like there was a watchtower there.
It was at one point. I still, honestly, this tech disgusts me. I know viewers are like, woohoo, it's fun, but no, it's completely broken. We have a $30,000 tournament, and Arbalest are taking out buildings faster than Siege does. But Viper's still having to deal with Lix. Lix is not done, and I'm waiting for Yo. Can Yo get an engage on the hill? No hill, Dave. Upgrades come in. That's a lot of arbs from MBL.
It's a tough one to call, right? I think Yo probably clears it up.
That's the case. Viper's going to have bigger problems because Viper does not have military. Lix has military. It's only MBL who's propping up Norway currently, and he's losing this fight. Still, though, he's got so many around the map, he just can't push with them currently.
And Viper, oh geez, losing more villagers, and Lix is still pushing into Viper's base.
What a
Viper just
freaking game.
Can't lock this area of the map down. Lix is so aggressive, and he's so good at just getting value for his units. Like, he'll toss archers under a TC.
Mhm.
He'll lose a few, but he's going to take 3 or 4 villagers
Exactly.
every single time.
Paladin on the way for Mr. Yo. Paladin
Yikes.
is on the way. Arbalest have carried games in this tournament, but Mr. Yo says, no. Paladin's still the best unit in the game. Let's go. And he's going to send it all over to Viper. And, well, MBL might need or feel the need to push Dave. He also has to save Viper because Viper will straight up die to Paladin.
I don't even think if he goes over there to save Viper, as you say, I think he might get caught out in the middle and destroyed.
True.
Arbalists do so poorly against Paladin unless you have like 50 of them.
Yeah, Viper's making knights now, and his Vil count's pretty good considering the spot he's in. He's at 94, but I don't think that will... It's like he's in a constant state of rebooming. He'll lose villagers, he'll add more villagers, and then that cycle repeats.
He's not going to like it when all these cav upgrade to Paladin. There are some weak Cavalier in there, to be fair, so he could have a chance if he engages early, if he bides his time, but it's going to be really, really tough to deal with.
I think letting Viper die is the play if you're Norway, because MBL, if he were to come save Viper, it would be a losing battle then. I think he has to push Yo, and he still has 53 military, Dave. And look at this, and the stables are there for Yo. MBL could still do this.
Well, I mean, one thing that Yo is really good at is the raids, and you can see him even in the back of MBL's base.
Yep.
He's going to take out a whole bunch more villagers, and he's going to just build up his Paladin numbers until he has enough to try and deal with these Arbalists. But that's so many Arbalists from MBL.
He needs stables, and he needs eco. He's only at 100 villagers, and he's about to lose a bunch. And I don't know if this fight is great for Yo, but maybe it's a fight to hold the position. He engages with the Paladins.
Oh god, MBL's losing 20 villagers in the back of his base.
Yeah, MBL losing the villagers, and also, I mean, Yo's in 3 different places. He's defending himself, he's killing Viper, as Lix is also here to help, and he's raiding MBL. Yo is just a beast, and maybe this is enough Paladins?
Yeah, it is. He's got 5 stables in production there. He's got the ones running down the hill to cut off the production from MBL. He's even got a Mangonel coming from behind.
Just in
and he's
case.
still raiding in the back of MBL's base. Killed all of the villagers back there.
Absolutely insane. The quality these teams have brought us in game 1. I'm so pleased with this. And Yo wants to drop a castle in MBL's ranges. That would make things awkward. When's Viper get in the game, Dave? What can Viper do at this point? Is he just... Can he change anything, or is he just kind of dead?
I think, like, you can't even sling the Mayan player, right?
No.
'Cause what are they going to make? More
Yeah.
Arbalists? I mean, Lix has been slinging Yo this whole time.
Yep.
And that's how Yo has the production, but it's a tough question. I mean, does Viper just produce more Knights in Castle Age and hope to help his teammate out?
Yeah, I think the answer is he's kind of done what he could. It was on MBL to kill, and the hold from Yo and Lix.
Wow.
I'm seriously impressed. I thought just what you thought.
I thought game was over.
Yeah.
I thought it was over, dude. I was about to say, like, well, this game's over. Let's go to game number 2. Unbelievable.
When Lix, the time window for Lix in early feudal was so important. And when Viper engaged against that spearman and 3 archers and killed that, that's enough right there to feel like MBL is going to ease his way to Castle Age and Viper's not going to be pressured enough. And then Yo couldn't take his main gold. He full walled his base, but that did not include where he was taking gold and stone. How on earth did Yo and Lix make that happen? That is just disgusting.
I feel like that doesn't happen if Viper is any other Civ too. That only happens because Viper was Huns. Like, he would have house walled the area that Lix went in.
Yeah.
He would have house walled the front. But with Huns, it's harder to get those walls down, right? Like, you have to create huge stretches of palisades, and it just wasn't something Viper was interested in doing early in the game, and he got really punished for it.
If you look at the resources sent, Viper was sending resources to MBL. Lix was able to somehow have the eco to send 4,500 resources over to Yo. That could have made a big difference there, Dave, because I don't think Yo would have otherwise got to Paladin, which made all the difference. But 256 kills for the King of China, 113 units lost, and we move on to Norway's home map. I think that's the first time in this tournament they have lost game 1. They haven't lost many games. They lost 2 to Spain, but yeah, so Norway have Team Acropolis, Valley, and Scandinavia, and we're going to put a heavy focus on these civilizations. And We don't know what the map is yet, but the way our Civ draft is situated here is if you won with a civilization, there's a crown over it, like China have. If you lost with a civilization, there's a skull over it. And then the snipe image is because those civilizations were sniped out after all the civs were picked and before the games were played. So it's a little bit complicated if this is a new system for you. But this is to prevent mirror matchups, and it really gives you a heavy focus on strategy, Dave, because you have to think far in advance.
It's just a whole lot of civs.
Yep.
It's like I said, there's only one missing civ from the draft, so you're really like five-heading your way through this whole process if you're these teams, and that's it's a big part of the preparation too. Guessing which ones will be available and which ones your opposing team is going to want to pick.
Twitch chat, you guys are the real whiz kids here. It was Spain who had Team Acropolis as a home map yesterday, right? I just want to make sure. Oh my God, Salensi, 50 gifted subs. You're nuts. Thank you.
Silently.
Sorry,
he gifted you 50 subs. The least you could do is say his name correctly.
That's one of my biggest. That's one of my worst strengths, biggest flaws. Sorry, I can't even speak now. It's going to be Scandinavia, but something to think about, Dave, is that Team Acropolis was picked by Spain yesterday, and then Norway were able to defend on that. So it's funny to me that they picked it for themselves here. Look at these civs, Dave. We have 90 seconds. Salent Lee, you're a beast, and thank you. Hecky, thank you as well. Again, $1 from every sub goes into the prize pool. And closing in on 20K, chat. Let's go. Italians and Persians against Celts and Mongols. Dave, is this not just clearly better for China?
I think it might depend on like where they generate on the map.
True.
If it's sometimes you get one lake area to yourself for the team. I think that would be worse for Italian Persian. I think if you're Italian Persian, you're hoping that you're going to get the one player on each side, so you can really pressure water.
Good point, Dave. Persians fantastic at doing that. Italians fantastic at doing that. And Scandinavia, while there is a lot of hunt for Mongols to take advantage of, the focus is on water early. So if Lix and Yo have their way, this is going to post-imp. That way Celts can be on Halberdier and Siege Ram, and then Yo can be on Elite Mangadai and Siege Onager, almost unkillable. And then if Viper and MBL have a chance here, they need to be aggressive in Feudal Age and prevent the Chinese players from making that Great Wall.
Can I just say, you were thanking all these subs. You didn't thank a 51-month subscriber earlier.
Hey, thanks, Dave, for the 51 months. I do recall seeing that, actually.
You're welcome.
Oh, man. Hey, I mean, you didn't gift 50 subs, but you subbed 51, so that's better.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. All right, so in terms of positions, Dave. Sorry, guys, I have to just quickly fix this. We have Viper very close to the water to the backside of his base, and then it's the same for MBL. It's a little bit wonky, though, because as you look over where Lix is going to be, MBL could easily send a villager down here to dock the enemy side. Weird. And then Yo, I guess, sorry, I got the colors wrong. We have Yo in yellow now. So thank you for that, China. But they've switched the colors. Yo might need to pay attention to water, and then Lix could also be sneaky himself against Viper's water.
God, YouTube's gonna have an aneurysm, dude.
I hate this. I'm
YouTube
100%.
does not like when players choose colors or change colors.
Yeah, I 100% understand that because you get into a rhythm with all the colors. But it's fine. Hopefully they just won't switch back. I don't know who this favors, Dave, but again, focus for Norway will be stopping the wall off, which can happen pretty easily between these massive wood lines. Look at the left side of Yo's base. Just some palisades where there's 3 deer are, and he's fully walled on the left.
I'm looking at Viper's base right now, and that is rough. That front area.
Oh, God.
Yeah, if and once again, he's up against Lix.
Yeah.
Like I said before, it's just not a player you want to be up against when you have exposed resources. And those golds are sitting right underneath that hill. So Viper's going to have to figure out a way to lock that down. I'm gonna be looking to see where they go with their dock villagers because I feel like MBL might go to the other pond.
I think you might be calling it right now, Dave, unless he's going to drop a house there. But villager running forward. Just also noticing that China, they're lurking around. Yo and Lix working together with their scouts. MBL already lost a goat to that. Bit of revenge, I guess, for Yo to steal some resources from MBL after the resources were walled in. Now, important thing to bring up about the map. So Age of Empires has, for years, MBL don't lose your scout. Or Viper don't lose your scout. That's
No, there's not many villagers in there. He's gonna, wander around a little bit, get out of dodge, and he's gonna be fine. Okay.
The Viper does need to care about his villagers, and that's sloppy from him. But go ahead, Dave.
He Lix and Yo looking around at Viper didn't quick wall his villager. Okay, quick walled his dock villager. She's safe for the time being, but Lix and Yo are on the hunt.
Yep. Viper got Loom already, though, so I think MBL probably told Viper that this was happening. With Loom, Viper should be okay. But real quick, back to the maps. Obviously, this does not look very good. As Lix is coming forward with a Vill. Whoa! Is Lix... what is the plan here for Lix? Probably Viper's worst... probably
the
player
not that far away. You
yeah,
could probably take it.
What? He's like, you all in my gold? I'm going to just shoot your boar. This is something.
Oh, he's just going to shoot it right beside the base. He's not even going to bother with taking it back. I think he might have been able to get it back to his base.
That's true.
With his scout blocking along
when you
the
have
way,
three at home, though, you probably don't need to do that.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is we don't see a dock yet for Lix. And MBL also is not docked, I guess because they're far enough away from the water where it doesn't feel worth it.
But I think Lix is going to dock Viper's Lake. And Viper's actually houseman. What? There's some inconsistencies here with Viper's play so far.
Well,
I feel like he's
got a barracks on his freaking face, dude.
Yeah, that's part of the problem, for sure.
All right, so just to clarify some things. I'm trying to go over rules here as people are freaking out. So you're allowed to kill villagers, or not villagers, but hunt with a villager, as we saw MBL do to China in Game 1. So that is legal. First person I saw it do it was actually Viper. Viper did that in the group stage. But what in the...
It's got a dual purpose. Like, it cuts off that gold, it lames it kind of, and it gives you a production building.
There's a dock from MBL in the south, and again, that game plan would be to win water for his team. So that's huge for Norway.
There's a dock in the north, though, for Lix.
Okay. This is a wild game, Dave, because neither team will have water secured. And then I don't think either team's going to have walls up. I have to say, I don't know if I've ever seen a tournament where Viper has been teamed up on this heavily. It happened all the semifinals, and it's now happening here in the final.
So how fast is Lix going to be up to the next stage? That's what I'm wondering. Because, like you said, he doesn't have fish. He's only using the hunt and the sheep. And Viper actually took 2 of his sheep as well. And he's got a dock in the north. So, like, what's the purpose of the dock if you're going to be up so much later than your opponents? He's sitting at 115 food right now. He's making fishing ships in the north. What?
You could still fish it this time, but if Viper spots that, look at Viper. He checked that shoreline, and now he's going to check. Is he going to spot this?
Tristan, the Vill is moving over to MBL now. Lix is such... Dude, Lix is just...
He's a god.
So annoying.
He's a
so
god.
annoying to play against, but you're right, he is a god.
I talked to Yo last night, as MBL will lose a villager to this, most likely.
Maybe not.
Good save. It's true. Super annoying, though. Anyways, I spoke to Yo, and Yo said he thinks Lix is playing his best Age of Empires ever. And I can't
Lix
disagree.
He's been housed for a minute and a half. So.
All right. Oh, my God.
Legit.
You weren't even exaggerating. He was at 25 when I last looked.
Dude, legit house for a minute and a half.
Well, honestly, if MBL's in feudal to make even 1 fire galley, it could be good. Yo is making defensive fire galleys, though. Oh, because he spotted the dock. Wow, so well played. And did Viper spot the dock from Lix? He did. Wow, these teams are firing on all cylinders. This is incredible.
This is just Lix in a nutshell. All you have to do is take a screenshot of this villager and these 3 militia inside of MBL's fully walled base.
Well, ask Brazil about that. Yesterday, Lix was able to use a villager on 1 HP after walling it in, and this villager who's full HP will be walled in. Oh, God. MBL doing a good job at keeping Vills alive, but how many Vills had to be pulled to attack this? He's still in Dark Age, man. He's still in Dark Age. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he's gonna lose his fish now, though.
I think he should care. Another barracks,
What?
bro.
No, he's trolling, dude.
Like what in the name of? He's keeping that villa alive. Deletes the dock. Says, "Who cares? I want my villager." Does MVL see the barracks? MVL does see the barracks. This is wild.
I have so many questions. Like, why is Lix adding so many farms when he's literally got 10 deer in the back?
He is too well. There's probably a lot of focus. He's got 2 barracks to worry about now, so
Yeah.
he's probably really focused. But he's kind of in that forever Huang territory where he needs to continue to make militia, and he's gonna do just that. The villagers even gonna fight. MBL's trying to wall this out. This is crazy, man. But I think Norway should have a big lead because of the water situation if MBL is able to push. And Yo, patrolling to the south, but mis-patrolling, he could lose his fishing ships to MBL.
Yeah, they just passed each other right there in the middle. He's going to notice that all too late as soon as the fire ships show up. And Lix is still bit. Look at the amount of weak villagers in MBL's economy. He's got to be super careful with this micro.
He would be at a disadvantage on water, I feel. And he actually just ate a massive demo shot. So Yo needs to keep his fish alive. What's Viper up to right now? Winning water and fish booming, I think.
Lix, what are you doing, dude? There's half of MBL's villagers are less than half HP.
Yeah.
It's just
if he could make it to feudal somehow, you know, it would be amazing. Because then Man-at-Arms and one single tower, or even Man-at-Arms Archer in here. This is the counter to MBL, apparently. Just get into his walls, and then the fully walled base means nothing.
And you know, Lix could open the door for Yo, who has 3 scouts wandering around. Viper's base is completely closed
I didn't realize that.
I mean, if Lix manages to punch a wall or a hole in these walls from MBL,
yeah,
suddenly Yo could join the party. And Lix is walling in the gold villagers from MBL.
So they can't go that direction. Again, it'd be sick if there were any range, but I think Norway will be happy with the fact, I mean, MBL is clearly not going to be happy, right? But I think Viper will be happy with the fact that Lix is investing so much because Lix does not have a dock. Viper's just been adding fishing ships with Italians, and Viper's going to be on crossbow pretty soon. So we'll have a Dark Age player and a Castle Age player in the same team game. And I think MBL's done a fantastic job, and we'll probably see MBL come over to help him out soon.
I think Lix is thinking about going up to the feudal age. He's stopped militia production. For the time being, at least.
I like how he has a random militia he forgot about next to Viper's Mill.
Yep.
But it's not a big deal because he has 7 others. This is just Lix things. Yo is also clicked up, and I guess if Yo makes knights, Viper's crossbows might be threatened. So that's something to think about. And then another thing...
Yo's going to clear up the fish from MBL and have that whole side to himself. Although Viper's sending a villager over, dude.
Oh,
that's
what a
play from Viper. That's fantastic.
Oh, man, because not only will he be able to compete on land for his team, he'll be able to compete on water. I'm really curious where Viper sends the crossbows, because if he has to get them over to MBL's base, there's potential that Lix will have time to wall up and then go for the famed Huang Rush in Castle and start adding in Mangonels.
You know, if Lix upgrades these to Men-at-Arms, there's going to be 6 Men-at-Arms in MBL's economy.
It's worth it.
He's trying to place a defensive tower here.
For militia.
Will Lix actually get a villager? MBL's been so good saving them so far.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, he's not even going to get one.
But also Lix has done a good job I'm going to jinx him here. But he hasn't lost many militia to the town center, and all these engagements have been so close to that. So yeah, he moves around. The Ville's still alive. That's Paul that we saw in the semifinals. And here comes Viper. Yeah, don't upgrade these. Just go straight up to Castle Age if you're Lix.
Well, he doesn't know. Okay, now he knows about the archers. He can see it with the house line of sight.
Oh!
And can the villagers survive? He survived so much.
I think
so far. Look, he's doubling back the other way.
Oh, he dodged. I mean, this is kind of a non-factor right now. The big thing is going to be as he's still being annoying. Lix is the most annoying and impressive player in the game right now. Yep. This is ridiculous.
And has been for years too.
Yeah.
This style is very, very unique to him. Dave, and it puts so much pressure on the opponents, and it gives Yo time to do his thing. And Yo's thing is 3 TC right now with fish.
Oh, wow. Viper had a sneaky stable, and Yo actually spotted that. and will kill Viper's village. Oh, will he? Viper cannot
Not
quick
this
wall
time.
it off. Yeah, but I like the fact that Viper has 13 fishing ships. His food eco is amazing. He's going to add town centers. He does have crossbows now to head forward to Yo. Lix, we're going to see a forward villager. At some point, yeah, there are two. He's going to go for a Huang Rush. He's going to try and pressure Viper, and that way we don't need to talk about Yo much. Yo being Mongols could maybe boom and get into Mangadai in late game.
Yo should probably upgrade War Galley just to get the better fire ships and push this back.
But
from Viper, I mean, that fish is so valuable on that side, right?
it's important to note, if you've been following the tournament somewhat and you've seen players send resources to an ally, you cannot sling from feudal. It's a very important balance change because otherwise it would happen all the time. And so MBL cannot send resources to Viper until he's in castle. He is remaining competitive on water, though, Dave, especially because Yo has some weak ones. Not the best demo for MBL, but also not the worst fight to take.
Yeah, if Yo is committed to taking back this water, I'd really love him love to see him get that upgrade. And Lix is placing 2 docks. I was watching those villagers. He was running into the line of sight from the houses from Viper and then like doubling back. He was looking for somewhere safe to go, and Viper can actually spot one of those.
And Viper, not much you can really do unless you have a galley. He's just reacted now. Kind of a tough spot for Viper because he thought his fishing ships would be safe. Lix didn't even have a dock to research the War Galley upgrade when he got to Castle Age, so one of those has to research that. I bet you these villagers still will make a siege workshop if they have the time, as Viper's now pressuring Lix. Yo has nothing right now except for booming, Dave. So it's water and boom for Mr. Yo. I think he needs to bring in some support in the way of knights.
The villagers will not have the time, by the way. Viper intercepts those, and
Well
they're going to go back. He's also harassing the woodline from Lix, but good recognition. Lix pulls away right at the moment he shows up and only loses 1 villager.
If MBL continues to pressure Yo on water, and Viper defends Norway's water while also pressuring Lix, this is exactly where Norway would want to be. They wanted to lead before post-imp. I don't think it's ideal that Viper's not able to do huge damage to Yo, but still, okay, there he is with crossbows, and Viper seemingly is going to defend on water. So it's not working out for China, all this harassment. It feels like they've just fallen behind in eco because Lix hasn't had fishing ships the entire game.
Yo needs to lock down some stone, too. Viper's looping around his base. Yo's trying to get a siege workshop up, but there's another army of crossbows coming. Yo knows he needs the siege.
Viper with a slight mistake. Didn't know the town center was there, I'm sure. So loses a few crossbows to the TC fire, but now we'll just sit there and... Yeah, Yo's going full defense till imp, it seems, but I think Lix could be in trouble if it gets there. Then again, Lix adding siege currently and might have that target of taking Viper's Hill away from him.
Yeah, and Lix managed to take down a few fishing ships from Viper as well.
Okay.
He was just targeting his fires on the fishing ships, not even bothering with the military. Classic Lix style.
Yep.
You know, just be annoying as possible and put your teammate in a great position.
I think Norway will love their spot now that MBL's docks will soon upgrade to War Galley, something Yo still has not done. And if Viper can make some knights with his crossbows, he can definitely clear up this little push that's starting on the front of his base.
He's gonna have to clear it up early though, because this can fester.
Yeah.
this is like an open wound, right? Like it's not a big deal at first, but it can become a problem as soon as the numbers get up there, especially in the hands of a player like Lix. Viper realizing this though, and I think we should see some siege from him.
Well, knights work until monks come out.
Castle. There we go.
Ooh, very defensive castle. So he's
out
worried.
of gold actually. He's only got 1 tile in the back.
Doesn't really secure the goal all that much either. Siege could still range villagers, but I think the problem is Lix is so far behind in eco, and if he had 3 or 4 monks, he'd be fine. He doesn't have that. Viper's going to pull some knights in there soon, and we'll see what magic he can do, because technically, monks and mangonels counter everything, but it's all about numbers, all about positioning.
Oh, good recognition from Viper. Relocates to the gold in the north, so he will have access to produce.
Yep.
And he'll probably secure that area with some walls too. So really, really good heads-up play from Viper there.
Viper could imp in a moment, Dave. It's no joke. The fish boom with Italians and his ability to continue to add them has been really impressive.
I love how MBL even walled in the barracks from Licks in his base. He's like, no, 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 no.
He would probably go for man-at-arms, so makes
No
sense.
more.
That was actually a quality attack round there from Licks to take out that knight. Otherwise, he could have lost more. The Viper's knight goes down, even though there was no monk there. And now there's a monk on the way. Here comes the next knight. That knight's also kind of weak, though.
What kind of position is Yo in right now, though? He's got 83 villagers. He's onto stone.
I mean,
he's got 4 TCs, Tristan.
He's got 84 vills. He'll be behind to the Imperial Age, but if Licks continues to be a pest, you never know. But I think Viper's going to switch altogether. Oh, never mind. I thought we'd maybe see Condotieros. Viper's still thinking of Arbalest, something Mangudai are really good against if you can get the upgrades.
You might mix in a few condos just for the siege, right?
Yeah.
Just mix in like 4 or 5. It's not a big investment. You already have the barracks.
Licks is making spearmen from the barracks underneath the castle currently. To give you an idea of how wacky he is, he's actually queuing spearmen from that barracks. And I'm surprised to see they're all making it.
If I were in Viper and MBL's position, obviously Viper has to be concerned about Licks and has to deal with that. But I mean, if you're them, you haven't seen much from Yo recently, and that must make you pretty nervous.
Yeah.
Like, what state is his economy in? How many Mangudai does he have, or how many castles does he already have?
Yep. Lick's big reaction here as Viper goes in. Viper has 25 military, but that's deceiving because a lot of it's on water. And you're kidding me.
That's a good night from Viper.
Guys, I'm so sorry about this. I've reported the bug. My statistics are crashed. So the game's going to run for us, but my statistics and the scores crashed. I'm sorry that this has to happen in front of so many, but actually 2 minutes before we're about to get Twitch front page, which is pretty hype, but we'll have to deal with it. And I think Licks is doing what he set out to do here, Dave. Pressure Viper as much as possible. Give Yo time, and Viper needs to get Licks away from him.
And Licks didn't just pressure Viper, remember? He pressured MBL a whole lot. Like, it forced so much idle time from MBL at the beginning of the game. So MBL's been behind because of that. He lost water because of that against Yo early.
Oh, that micro
he's regained it now, but...
Yeah, the micro from Licks was very nice. That said, Viper should easily use Arbalest against the Mangonels. Yo still hasn't clicked up. Are you surprised, Dave? Or did he? I guess on your screen he might have.
Yeah, he's at 53%.
Okay. All right, Dave will keep us updated on all those techs. And as for how many castles he has, he's going to have 2, and 1 is going to be right next to MBL's base. That's pretty sick. So he wants to kill MBL, and maybe what that will do is take away from Viper's potential attack against Licks. Does Licks have a Mangonel? Oh! Oh, man. Viper noticed that just in time. Oh, but he splits into it.
That was a good attack round from Licks. That was a fantastic attack round from Licks, anticipating the split.
All right.
Wow. And this, you know what? Licks is never going to win this fight straight up. All he's going to do is delay.
Yep.
And that's exactly what he needs to do, because what do Persians really do against Mongols, especially when Mongols are up to imp faster and already have 2 castles to produce Mangudai?
Viper has units, but he's not able to push with them. He's just running into random buildings that Licks placed in Dark Age and Feudal Age. And MBL's probably like, team, where's my team? But you're right, Dave. I don't know if he's able to do that much except boom and hope that Viper saves him for now. But can you tell me the Vill count for MBL? I imagine it's close to 100, and he might even be imping.
The Vill count is 1... I'll just say it's 100, just to give you the credit.
Thank you.
It's 100 for MBL. It's actually 103, but it's pretty close. And we got 120 for Yo, and Yo is now clearing up the villagers that were making the stables to the south, and MBL is going to have a gigantic pain train coming towards him, and I don't think Viper can help much from this position. He could potentially deny that castle.
Yeah, but he can't push past the castle. Viper needs to get siege. So again, a reminder, Viper's in imp, Yo's in imp. Is MBL on the way, Dave?
MBL is 35% of the way to Imperial Age.
And Licks probably is not at all, would be my guess.
Viper's actually getting Pavize. Pavize? Never know how to say that.
I think.
For his Arbalest. But once again, like, he can't push through that castle position. And there's going to be 3 castles there in between his base and MBL's.
If you're new to the game, I call MBL the cockroach of AoE. And I call him the cockroach of AoE because he never dies. And so he has got this constant reboom going. He only has so much space, but he's really good at this. So I think Viper having time is great. He just needs to do something with that time to threaten Yo. That way MBL can expand and maybe get into the game.
And Yo's going to find his way through this really annoying gap in the wood line. He can either go right to Viper's economy, or he can go left into the back of MBL's economy. And he's pushing MBL's main TC as well. Thankfully for MBL, that is not the MTC.
Yeah, okay. So he's lost one town center. He'll lose the next. Actually, I think Yo spotted... He spotted the castle because MBL's castle has been attacking Lix's houses from Dark Age. So he's now going to try and trev down that castle, which is a wise move because that's really what's going to keep MBL from holding against those Mangadai.
And important to note as well, Lix is slinging Mr. Yo.
Okay, wow. Okay, that makes sense. And maybe some crazy text could be possible then for Mongols like Siege Onager on top of the capped ram. But Viper with a Treb Dave, not placing the castle yet. He is threatening that trio of castles from Yo. That's a big, big thing for Norway.
Yeah, Yo, I think Yo has to defend this first one, because if you let the first one go down for free, suddenly the other two are way more exposed, and you lose a production building as well. So he's going to head over with the Mangadai and take out this Treb.
Does MBL have stables working? He's got some knights, I see. Okay. That's good, but he doesn't have that many units. Yo only has 5 himself, or 4 himself. Viper does clear up the Mangadai, and that's a good move. Norway looking to be in a better position now.
I'm still really nervous about this position for Mr. Yo on MBL, though. Yeah. That's a lot of Mangadai, and that's a lot of castles to produce Mangadai. And Viper, with only Arbalest, is just going to be slow in defense of his ally.
Can you tell me what the team score is looking like right now?
Team score is 6,900, nice, for China and 6,500 for Norway.
All right, so slight score lead.
And Rams are in on the castle from MBL. That thing's going down. That's dead.
It's definitely going down. There's no counter here. There's no military here.
There's no defense at all.
If Viper's Arbalests are too slow, they're out of position. He is taking out castles. Oh, wow. That's cute. PogChamp for the elephant Twitch chat. PogChamp for almost 20,000 viewers. Welcome. But Yo just needs to continue this push. Do you think Onager is something that Yo could consider doing?
If he continues getting the sling from Lix, potentially.
Yeah.
But I think right now for Mr. Yo, you're banking on the fact that you have mobility, right? You don't have to take the straight up fight against Viper. You can keep poking and prodding in different areas. I think at the moment, you probably want to focus on getting Lix to Onager.
Yeah, get Lix into the game. Viper packing up the siege at the perfect time. He does have Genoese crossbow. Genoese crossbow have a counter against Cavs, so that does include the Mangadai. And there's Onager, actually. Yo, cutting through the trees. Viper has to be very careful now.
And Yo is paying tribute now to Lix. So they kind of countered a little bit. Yo is sending a bit of food over, and Lix's resources, where he's got 1,300 food, 1,500 gold in the bank, and he's on the way to the Imperial Age. He's already 72% there.
Dave, I so badly want Lix to use this barracks, because the walls are going down now. I so badly want him to make halberdiers there.
I'll let you know if he does.
I mean, I can see that much. I just can't see if it's queued.
Yo, Viper's going to lose all his arbalists in MBL space.
Big cleanup. Elite Mangadai against the Arbs. Easy win for the Mangadai, but Dave. What?
Baby! Where? At Lix's base, the Mangonel's getting value from Viper's arbalists.
I was more worried about the other side, because Viper's taking out Yo's castles currently. And Yo goes choo-choo with the siege rams to take out Trebs. I might get them. Oh my god, he got all 3. He got all 3, Dave. And MBL still falling further and further behind and back into his base. He does have Cavalier, though.
Yo has 35 Mangadai here. And if there's one thing we learned from Hidden Cup, it's that Mangadai are still better against Genoese crossbowmen.
Yep. Also, in the hands of
close,
Mr. Yo, it's a little different. I think with 1 or 2 Onagers, and suddenly Viper needs really good bombard cannon micro, which he has, but actually the siege rams more than anything that will be tough for the Viper, and rip to a bombard cannon just like that. These units are nuts.
And here come the drill Onagers.
Oh, boy! I mean, it was a good split to get out of there for Viper. It really looked like it was going to be worse, but still Viper unable to push the castles.
Yeah, great micro there from Viper to save the army. I thought everything was going down there.
I did too. Yeah, he likes to be on the other end of the highlights. He doesn't like to be at the negative side. those highlights. But Dave, that castle's a goner. The Genoese crossbowmen are going to die. Lix, he hasn't done anything in Imp yet, but he's going to. And it's looking like China are in the lead until MBL can maybe show up with his cav.
I love the play to just send the siege rams in there. He realizes Viper has nothing to deal with them.
Yeah, and MBL's been so squeezed back into that base.
And now, if you're Viper and MBL, I mean, MBL has managed to stay alive here. He has a big force of Cavalier now. He still has 93 villagers somehow.
Okay, yeah.
Like you said, Cockroach VOE. But Lix is suddenly back in the game.
And if
Lix has the onager of his own. Lix is pushing on the right-hand side.
If he pushes Viper, but also contributes some Halberdiers with Yo, it just doesn't feel killable. And this actually comes back largely to the preparation as Viper gets rocked by some of these onagers.
Oh, but this could be a big swing. Paladin is coming in very, very close for MBL. These are about to change.
That's why he's been so patient. That and the fact he was pushed back into his base. So, not that many Mangadai, Dave. And Paladin is in, so I think Viper will hold that hill.
Yo, attempting to get some good attack rounds and setting up beside his Trebs. That's actually, you know you're going to lose the Trebs.
Yeah.
So that's a great place to sit with the Mangadai.
Yeah, it was a much better fight.
Really good fight.
And Viper holds. Lix now probably the best siege Halbsiv in the game. He does have Halberdier. MBL's here with Paladin, snipes and onager. Yo probably needs to continue to focus on MBL because there's so many exposed golds. MBL's taking gold with 25 vills there. Yo just built a siege workshop with 20-some vills.
Viper is also trading on the water with trade cogs.
Oh!
They don't have the speed upgrade yet, but
I think it's great because they're denying the trade from the enemy, kind of. And the one to also, well, we'll talk about that, Dave, but that is going to be some gold income for them, which is greatly needed right now as MBL gets pushed off.
Viper's going to have to solely focus on Lix pretty soon here.
Well, he's held. Another castle stays up from the Viper. What a hold from Norway, Dave. This is incredible.
But they're... Like, trade cogs are not going to be enough. MBL has 2 piles of almost depleted gold in the back. Viper's got no gold access now.
Yeah, that hill. He's had the hill. He's had the gold there.
And
but...
Yo has siege onagers. So...
Oh, God. Oh.
See you later, bombard cannons.
Viper, no, Viper. Well, he gets value at least, but bombard cannons
There's so much to look at if you're Viper and MBL. There's so much to focus on.
And Lix, Onager cuts himself a path to hit this extra gold and is dropping a castle there. There's so little control for Norway. Genoese crossbowman and Paladin against only Mangadai on the left. Still feels like Yo could easily pop out a siege Onager, though, and be in a good spot here.
Yeah, and Yo's got a whole whack of Mangadai right now. He's got 40 Mangadai in a ball. That's so tough to deal with. And MBL, I mean, like I said, he just doesn't have the gold to continuously produce Paladin.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to lose this army. He doesn't want to dive that ball of Mangadai.
Dave, good time to remind people, this is the home map for Norway.
Yep.
They chose this map. China came out with good civs drafted and wild, wacky, only China A possible strategies. Viper at risk of losing his side. MBL at risk of losing his side. I know our stats are frozen here, and I'm sorry for that. That will change for the next game. But I just don't see how Norway stops this long term.
They don't. I mean, your Viper's going to spend all day killing one Kilt siege ram. And there's Halbs and Onagers to follow it up. And MBL's desperately, every single time MBL goes forward, he's trying to trap these Mangadai from Mr. Yo, clear them up. Mr. Yo is on top of his game, and he won't let himself get in that position.
The pointy boys taking out the bombard cannons now. Italians just cannot fight in this spot.
No.
They didn't take a big enough lead early, and it is officially at post-imp now, where Persians, Italians seem to struggle so much. Mongols, I mean, MBL's doing a good job, but Mongols should be better off if they have the golds. And I hear the GG. For some reason, we can't see it. And China...
Wow.
Go up 2-0. All because Lix is just the most annoying player ever.
Think about everything that he did in Dark Age. We were talking like, he's going to be Dark Age against a crossbow Castle Age player, you know? But MBL had 10 villagers constantly chasing that force inside of his base. Lix somehow managed to sneak in there. He, like, lamed the gold from Viper early. He lamed the boar from Viper early. Distracted him. And meanwhile, all Yo needed to do was win on water initially, and then boom up into Mangadai.
We say all he needed to do like it was super easy, but I
Why
mean,
is it
China,
not? I mean,
yeah, I mean, China already were investing into some trade. Yo was about like, every little small thing that you need to do was happening here. Yo was going to castle the shoreline just so the water presence wasn't an issue for the enemy. He had a mining camp heading there. I mean, Mr. Yo historically in 1v1s over the last 6 months has had the better of Viper. China looking very good against Norway. But Dave, this is an excellent way to start off the finals because if it was 2-0 Norway, everyone would say, this is going to be a sweep. Norway's going to destroy. They've got the best team. This is over. But now that you have China up 2-0, I fully believe that Norway can come back and we have ourselves a crazy series. But I have to question picking Italians here because Italians would be useful on Team Islands, which is a home map for China. And I have to question allowing Mongols. I mean, I suppose it was picked super early for China, but the Civs just looked and felt better there for China.
well, I think the gameplay or game plan for Norway was we'll secure both sides, both water areas, and we'll wall up at home. Unfortunately for them, Lick snuck into the wall from MBL and it just messed up the entire game plan.
Yeah, Lix is that's been the key for him for so long to be a pest and give Yo time, and that was the perfect spot. Jim of the North, can we get some nices in chat? Thank you for the 69 gifted subs. You are incredible. And should we have another game to talk about? Dave, how does Norway turn this around before we even see the map with their gameplay?
Well, I've seen the map, so.
Oh, okay. What is the map then? And then we can
The
be
map
more
is
specific.
their second home map of this series, which is Team Acropolis.
Okay.
And it looks like Viper and MBL are going to opt for Burmese and Indians. And then on the other side, we're going to have Yo and Lix going for Cumans and Berbers. So
Wow.
likely Camel Arambai versus what, Knight Camel Archer potentially?
So, I mean, I'm interested for this because we haven't seen a ton of Team Acrop. But if you have Berbers and you get Camel Archers out, that might be one of the units that can actually deal with the Arambai.
Yep, they counter them pretty well.
At the same time, Indians seem to counter Kuman Paladins pretty well too. So this is a really even Civ matchup, and the strategies could be completely different. We'll find out. They have launched everybody. And let's keep this going here. 2v2 World Cup, game number 3 between Norway and China. Score surprisingly 2-0 in favor of the Chinese. So, in the blue, we have Viper. He's playing Burmese. In the green, we have MBL. He's Indians. Yo is sticking with yellow. Okay. So he's Cumans, and then Lix will be Berbers in the red. And Dave, the theme has really been early 2v1 situations for China and making the most of it.
Yep, and a lot of, like, especially last game, a lot of distractions from Lix. He's just giving Yo time. That's the game plan for them. In Team Acropolis, I think the 2v1 situations are going to be a bit less because they're so close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see if Lix opts for some more early pressure, similar to last game. I feel like it's maybe not an option because it's such a long distance, but with Berbervilles, you never know.
I think because the map gen will see extremely passive play from at least one player. Sometimes on Team Acropolis, you cannot wall to the edge of the map, and it's a circular mountain or hill. Here, you can wall to the edge of the map, which makes it pretty easy to team wall. So the expectation for Norway is Viper will want Arambai, and so I feel Viper is going to wall to the edge, go fast castle. MBL's Indians, he could easily make a few scouts to try and deny walls, and still get up to castle age at a good time. So that's what I think there. And then we might have a similar thing where, well, actually, hold on. I'm not sure. But Lix could go into fast castle Camel Archers. And then I guess Yo just maybe second TC with Cumans.
I think that's the play with Cumans. I can't see picking them for any other reason.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be probably fully walled on this team area on top. So if you have that opportunity and you're safe to put down that second TC, I think you have to capitalize on the Civs bonus.
Where do you build the second town center? You could try and get it on this
I don't think I don't think it's good to go down
Okay, all
for a
right.
second PC because you're going to be so far behind, right? You know the enemy is going to be in castle before you,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to have potential to push that area, and it just creates a giant target for
Yeah.
your enemies to attack.
Right. Reminder for those, I've been doing this a lot throughout this tournament, so you guys are probably sick of it by now, but Mr. Yo and Lix were in the finals in 2018, and they lost to Finland, who they actually ended up beating in the quarterfinals this tournament. So they're no stranger of the big stage, no stranger of the finals. And Yo's just staying at home for now, Dave. So we have a lot of time to wait and see what happens, but I kind of like how this is developing because it could be great for either team.
Viper just, I was on his point of view, and he just signaled the TC spots from Lix and Yo. He can't see anything.
Yeah, so he sees relics.
Oh yeah, he sees it. Yeah, I get it.
So
Okay.
I think also if you look at the map scripts a few times before you load up, you could figure out that the relics are distributed on the sides of the bases. So yeah, that's probably Viper saying, I think he's there. Viper weakens the boar with his town center. And yesterday, I don't know if you caught it, Dave, Lix accidentally killed his rhino with his town center and still ended up winning the game. Just Lix things.
Just Lix things. Yeah. Ditto.
But it's so easy to find the enemy if you find the elevation. There's no real risk you're going to run into that town center. Viper moved forward to confirm. And honestly, Viper should probably get his scout home because if he's going fast castle, the enemies will be in feudal faster than him. And that, wait a second. He's getting loom? Oh no, he's just getting loom to wall. So yeah, his scout needs to get out of there before the faster and stronger attack scouts come in from the enemy.
I feel like Viper might go up and get eco upgrades. Or he goes scouts here because he's making a barracks already.
Is he? Viper's making a barracks?
Yeah.
Am I behind? Oh, yep, barracks. Oh, yep, I'm definitely caught up to speed here, Dave. We're good. Good to know. And yeah, barracks and getting loom, this looks like it could be man-at-arm timing.
Maybe, but like, you're gonna have to fight up hills with the men-at-arms and like find an opening when teams are usually already walled.
I think there's a beauty, though, in switching it up if you've been predictable.
Yeah.
Or if you feel as though your strategy is just predictable, not even what happened before. And so that and the fact that Yo might try and get a second TC up, I don't know. There's some potential. Because meanwhile, Lix is walling. Lix is definitely not going for fast castle. But men-at-arms would be the best way to break through
Viper
those
sending
walls.
villagers forward. Men-at-arms
What?
towers. He's gonna Lix.
Okay, well, he forgot to go to gold, which is a big problem. He's super late to gold, Dave, so he can't even make his third militia. And he won't be able to research men-at-arms. That is not great.
He'll find a way.
He'll find a
Viper
way.
always finds a way. He'll find a way.
The walls. China are well known for finding a way to get walls up. And that will happen. And I guess Lix might be considering scouts here as Yo booms. And Dave, do you see where Yo's headed?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you remember that time that I said you shouldn't put a TC down there? Well, Yo is gonna go put a TC down there.
And MBL's looking for it too. MBL's still in Dark Age, so he's going fast castle. And that means his scout will go down if Yo spots that, which Yo should. Oh, he's worried about the wolf. No, he's not worried about the wolf yet. MBL's scout will go down. Viper with the forward archer range. Man-at-arms on the way. He only has 2 of them. Doesn't feel like it's that worth it. And now you have a stable for Lix as he will add scouts. So it's Viper's turn to delay so MBL can carry. Similar to what Lix did in that previous game.
Do you want, if you're in Viper's position though, do you want to shift over to the Cumin player at some point? I mean, the Cumins, you want to try and disrupt that 2TC boom, right?
Honestly, the only thing I'd say that you would want to do is maybe take them off food, like berries. But there's not much you can do about Cumins nowadays. So it's okay to pressure Lix. And but what could work well here, and this is what Spain tried against Norway yesterday, if you break down the team wall, MBL can send camels in here in Castle Age, and that can be really strong. So that might be the idea. But Lix is a pretty good tower player himself. And oh, Viper's sending archers into the tower. That's an idea.
Obviously giving extra arrows for less units within the tower. I'd love to see some spearmen from him coming forward too, because the Lix does have that stable
Yeah.
on the front there, and MBL's actually signaling. He signaled the TC from Yo, and then he signaled the open spot as well in the base.
Yeah, Viper probably can run through there. Yo's beginning to wall up. Expect Yo to have a pretty big Vil lead as his 2 TCs are pumping. That right there, I guess Yo didn't really know how bad it was over here. He just lost his scout to Viper. But so far, so good with Lix's tower defense. Really good, actually. Look at this. That one gets weak, hop it into the tower. This one gets weak, hop it into the tower. And now Viper bails.
MBL's about to click up.
Lix just needs another defensive tower here. He's waiting to see if Viper places one. Yo has to be careful not to overchop these wood lines. And there we have... Ooh. Okay, defensive tower from Lix. So, let's talk about positives for Viper's situation. His eco should be looking pretty good when he eventually gets to Castle Age. The downside is it's going to take some time to get there. He's also on stone to make towers. So, he'll be on stone naturally. So, when it comes time to get to the Errand by, it should be a comfortable spot for him to be in. I'd say the downside is he's making a lot of units that don't translate that well into the rest of the game, like archers and at arms. This is not a thing for him in the mid game at all.
Well, on the plus side, I mean, he's kind of protecting his ally as well, right? Like, Lix made those scouts, and he has to keep them at home to deal with this. And he has to keep running around in circles, and that's time that gives MBL to boom up his eco. They know the Cuman player is not going to do anything but produce fills. So MBL didn't even have to wall. Like, he didn't have to spend any of that time to wall.
Wow, Yo even checking this. I mean, I don't know how he's paying attention to all the right things at the right time, but experience paying off here. And
MBL sending a villager forward too, dude.
Siege Workshop, I think, Dave. He might go full-on 1 TC. Maganel, Rams, Camels. If he's going forward with a villager, it makes sense that there'd be Siege, and don't tell me. Oh, Lix. He did not spot that. He had the potential to snipe it.
So close. Well, I think he's kind of busy. Now that Viper is also pressuring Yo here, he's going to have to keep his scouts over there, and they won't notice the forward siege from MBL. If this was a 1v1, every player in the universe would be looking for a forward siege from MBL, but it is a 2v2, and Viper's kind of distracting. Now Viper's going to bring his force over and be able to supplement the Mangonels from MBL.
Dave,
with his army.
If MBL chooses the left town center, there's nowhere to run for Yo, and the Mangonels will be doing hill bonus damage.
But Dave, why not put the TC at the bottom of the hill?
I mean, we're seeing now why that might be a real downside. And MBL, I think he could do it, man. I really think he could. Camels can't be countered right now. Yes, Yo has 46 villagers, but Mangonels can change that. And Yo's also idled by Viper. So Viper being the Lix, as you said, and keeping both the Chinese players on the back foot.
Yeah, it's such a turnaround, isn't it? Viper's playing the Lix role.
Yeah.
And Lix is just spending all his time dealing with it. He is on MBL's woodline now, though.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I mean, it's not the worst, but he doesn't have extra town centers to add more vills, and he and Viper have to worry about this now, so...
Ooh, Yo losing 2 villagers on the berries to the Mangonel. Lix over there with some vills in tower defense. His allies base.
But the big thing is that Yo will get pushed on the left town center. There's scouts.
And there's going to be camels, archers, men-at-arms, towers, a siege workshop in between that. You're right. He has nowhere to run.
You can't even go for a defensive tower against Mangonels in the current meta, which is what has made that push so strong. Because feudal age towers only have 700 HP. There's just no chance. So that's hill bonus Mangonel. That, I think Norway are in the perfect position to get their win.
Yep, this will negate the Cuman eco bonus right here. If you wipe up all these villagers, suddenly Yo has no vill lead at all, and he's in feudal age, and he's under pressure.
Unless
he's going up to castle age now.
Yeah, unless Yo can hold and get onto knights. This sounds nuts,
He's never
Dave.
going to hold this left area, I don't think.
But would it not make sense to get Lix on full scouts and just try and take out the siege for now?
I don't think so, because there's the camels there, there's pikemen there.
Yeah.
Like, if you fail at taking out the siege, and there's vills here to repair. If you fail at taking that out, suddenly you're, a couple more minutes behind to castle age.
Look at Viper with the archers. Burmese archers, ladies and gents. Not the best archers in the game, but they do something here. Yo needs that wood so he can repair, and he's just repositioning,
He's
repairing,
so dead here,
repairing.
dude.
Like, what does
This
he
is
even
like
do
a
in the next stage? I
desperation.
don't know.
This is desperation here for Mr. Yo. And look at how Viper spaced out his archers. Fantastic play from him, cutting off that entire wood line. And MBL's just waiting.
Yo's
He's on
buying
the
wood.
hunt for these vills.
Yo's going to buy some wood here, Dave. He's running out of wood to repair. He's actually not repairing, which is also an issue. You can't run!
Here they come!
Oh!
Here they come!
Is he just giving it up?
Well, I mean, Lix is coming back with the scouts, kind of distracting. MBL's not really noticing. An attack round is about to come in here.
It's a slaughter. Oh, man. Yo is trying to save what he can, but say goodbye to the Vill lead. Oh, jeez.
That's all of Yo's advantage in this game just gone in a couple seconds. And now he's down to the lowest Vill count with humans.
Oh man, I just hiccuped there. I'm like, I'm losing my mind. This is so much fun to watch.
Beautiful H tower too for Lix. That's gonna just get shredded by Mangonels.
So many teams with GG in this spot. China's like, no. We still have Vills. We can do this. We'll try.
But
play to the last Vill.
What though? Yo's YOLOing a castle at the front.
I mean, if it
which
goes
will go up, but even Kipchaks here are not the answer.
I think Kipchak Camel Archer is actually pretty decent in this spot against Arambai and Camel, but economically things are certainly looking bad. Norway need to win this. You don't kill that many villagers and get away with throwing this if you want to win the finals. You have to take advantage of this now. And look at Dave. Look at Lix on the right. You know what he's going to do.
Well, I mean, he's got to. That's the joy of watching players like Yo and Lix. They know at the point in the game where they need to do something crazy.
Shh.
And this is crazy.
Everyone say shh.
Where's he going to put it, though? There's nowhere to put it.
He's not sure because he doesn't have scouts. He's actually running in here blind, dude. He doesn't have any scouting. He has no scouting. And he's still just hoping, probably hoping that Viper is going to, I don't know, maybe he wants the map control there. But that's funny. So I guess Kipchak defense at home for China and then Camel Archers forward. Something that Norway will not be aware of. And I think Viper yesterday said the struggle with playing Lix is that even though you're expecting a surprise, it somehow still surprises you. Wasn't quite like that, and I think we'll see that.
What does China do if MBL shifts his push over to Lix's base? There's obviously a defensive castle for Yo, but if MBL shifts over to Lix, it could be a big problem for him.
I mean, it's really why defensive castles are a thing, Dave, so these types of pushes won't work anymore. But I guess Yo is just going to do his best to use Kipchaks against it. And MBL's really good at booming and Mangonel microing. So MBL 55 Vills, Viper 46, Norway with the lead there. And forward Camel Archer Lumber Camp play from Lix.
MBL will never let these Kipchaks get anywhere close to these Mangonels. He's going to be on the ball. 7 range for the Mangonels, 6 range for the Kipchaks. And the Kipchak player also has to worry about the Camels that are really strong.
Yeah, also just the fact you want to counterattack because MBL will be in a position to boom. So it sucks that...
Oh, look at Viper in the back of Lix's base. Archer's coming in clutch.
Archer's coming in clutch, back of Lix's base. Oh, there, back of Lix's base. Hello. Did he kill much or did they all just die?
Well, I mean, idle time. He killed a couple of villagers, but like Burmese archers,
yeah,
you're not going to get much more value out of them.
Get rid of them. Lix is being very patient, but there's also not many areas he can hit from Viper. Viper will have just as many Arambai. I think Camel Archers become the stronger unit when you get Ballistics and Thumb Ring, and especially an Imp. In Castle Age, Arambai feel way stronger. And that also the Burmese Eco, with the free Lumber Camp upgrades helping Viper a lot.
And Viper saved all 4. They're running through MBL's base. He took the long way around. He saved all 4 of those villagers that he sent forward earlier.
Yeah, I'm just...
So no losses for him.
I'm looking at the eco setup. Everything's looking good. Yo does come forward, Dave. So he's actually left his teammate kind of alone. It's worth the risk, I'd say. Yeah,
they have to. And Yo is going to re-TC that area on the left. MBL does have a ram over there. So if MBL notices, he's moving it right now. Does MBL see this?
I don't think he does. He just looked at that area of his screen. And now the Camel Archers are on Viper Stone. How does Lix get away with this? 4 villagers down. Will be 5 villagers down.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of vills. Yeah. Very
MBL sees
China-like.
the TC with the ramp. He's going.
Is he actually? Oh, if he gets that, Dave,
Yeah, what?
that would be so sick. Yo doesn't have any military to deal with that. Camel archers have run in, but camels and Arenby are here. And ultimately, it should be easy cleanup for Norway, but Viper wouldn't have wanted to take those losses. And okay,
More
Ram getting
Kipchaks
attacked.
in the back of MBL's base, dude. He's killed 4 village, 5, 6.
Oh, this back, yeah. 74 vills for MBL, still looking horrible for Lix and Yo, but military working out, Dave.
I think MBL should like dive the economy of Lix with those camels, to be honest. He's gonna bring him back and try and wipe up this army, but I think like you see all this stuff forward.
Look at MBL and Viper have
China.
no idea there's a castle here. They're just like, what? Why is there a castle here? They never thought they needed to pay that close attention to that area.
Viper's over on the left side supporting the one ram from MBL too.
Yeah.
Villager's still alive, hiding behind that.
Now he's
no, he's
dead.
dead.
Way to go, Dave. That's on you. That's on you.
I didn't mean to.
Good micro from Lix. MBL still at 82 villagers, but he's losing some. So it seems like there's a lot to do for MBL. He almost has so many villagers that there's constant threat of losing some. But I still like Norway's position, Dave. I have to say, though, China really giving it their all when they seem or have seemed dead for a bit. And a good fight there for MBL and Viper on Viper's Hill.
Yeah, and MBL's on his 5th TC now.
Oof.
So he's going to start booming up, and the Chinese players are really going to struggle to get their economies rolling.
Lix with the forward town center and castle. Viper will just castle there. If Viper or MBL go imp, they can take out this forward base and that castle so easily. So for China, they need to continue to kill. And I see now Viper researching coinage. So Viper probably wants to sling MBL his resources to get MBL up to the Imperial Age. But, Dave, do you see what Yo is planning on next to MBL's TCs?
And he's got the Kipchaks in the area to support that as well.
Well, they're kind of leaving the area.
They're in the area.
They're close enough, I guess.
Yeah.
MBL has like 30 villagers here. That's
That
his
is
bill
a
difference.
castle, dude. That is a castle right there for Mr. Yo.
It's going up. And MBL is not anywhere close to clicking
tons
up.
of camels and a big ball of Arenby coming over. Yo has to be very careful with this castle.
Will it go up? Will it go up? Will it be a
think it
down
doesn't.
castle?
I think it doesn't. Nope. Nope.
They're in the area, Dave, but they're not close enough, and there's not enough of them. Norway say, not today, not anymore. They deny that castle, and that needed to happen for Yo.
Yeah, and there's no way Yo was ever getting that up with the Kipchaks even standing there in support.
Yep.
I think Viper would always micro those vills down, and the Kipchaks have to run away from the camels.
Hit and run, hit and run, hit and run. You cannot stay and defend your villagers. If MBL had the stone, I'm sure he could just build his own castle there. Look at Lix on the other side picking off Viper's villagers. How annoying is this guy?
Yeah, but Viper has more TCs than Lix. He can just outproduce.
Yep. And so many
anything that
Kipchaks
Lix picks
dying.
off. And, you know, camel archers are not the same as Arenby. They can't take out buildings. So Lix is going to have to constantly run away from the TC fire, the castle fire.
Someone said it was just a distraction. A 12 villager distraction. There's been a lot of that from Yo today. The castle's not going up, though, and he's got to cut his losses, I think, and delete that to get some stone back. Lix is imping?
Huh?
What? Is Yo... What? Okay, Yo...
I'll check to see if he's slinging him.
Okay, Viper just sent his resources over to MBL, so that's not a big
Nope,
surprise.
he did not sling him. So Lix probably bought his way up to Imperial
Okay.
Age.
Well, he's losing a ton of camel archers now. He would need to have elite camel archer, bracer, chemistry. But Dave, while there's a lot of castles to push, Viper's not going to have the luxury of making trebs. So suppose...
Yeah,
if
but
there
MBL
was-
can just run in with the camels.
Yeah,
MBL's on
yeah,
the way
yeah.
to Imperial Age too, right?
You're right.
You just run in. He's got so many camels, and you know, Kipchaks do decent damage output against camels, but camel archers against Indian camels,
Yep.
not the greatest.
MBL has 130 of his own villagers, and he was receiving resources from Viper. You're right. There just seems like there's no way to push this hill, and no real way to finish off Norway's very strong economy.
And at some point, NBL is going to send like little groups of 5 to 10 camels into the economy
Hmm.
from the Chinese, and they're not going to have anything to deal with it.
Yep.
He's actually sending his main force over to try and clear up these kipjacks.
It's interesting how in this game, Norway chose a very offensive strategy so they could then be defensive. Instead of previous games, they were maybe a bit more defensive, like MBL going Drush FC, some of the walls and whatnot. And then they ended up struggling against the aggression. So maybe that's the overall game plan Norway can use. Be offensive first, then fall back with the lead.
Viper's going up to Imp. He's at 20%, and Lix has to fight uphill against this castle. So Viper could potentially hold it until the point where he can get some Trevs out of his zone.
2 castles. Lix placed that castle right next to Viper's. Actually helps Viper a little bit. Viper with so many castles going up, though, he knows this is now a Trebor. They'll also see the team score and know how many villagers they've killed to know that this is an all-in from China.
Okay, MBL has had enough of chasing Kipchaks, and he's just going to run into the economy for Mr. Yo, and this is what I was talking about.
Yeah,
he's going to get
finally
into that gold, into that wood line, and it's going to be really tough for the Chinese.
It's an area they can see pretty easily, too, because Viper's
and
forward
Viper's
villager had built
taking
an
out the
outpost.
TC from Lix, and Lix just doesn't care.
Lix doesn't know. Viper's like, look at this, MBL. Look what I'm doing. Lix didn't even react, and okay, now we have the GG. That's so typical for them to play on, but I love the fighting spirit. Yo lost so much. It was so well played from Norway to take out the TC the way they did, but that's what you want in finals. You want to play on until there's absolutely no chance.
And that's part of that, that versatility I was talking about earlier before the match started.
Yep.
Viper going for a Men-at-Arms tower push like that, it's not a thing that we see from him very often, especially in tournament games. Like, really not a strategy we see from him that often. And he made it work at MBL because he had the freedom to be open at his base and build up his eco and go FC. He was able to cover up from in early Castle Age.
Viper probably opened up the opportunity for MBL to do that because Yo had to pull so many villagers to make defensive towers. Good point. Something we see from Team China all the time, and I think that Viper and MBL also thrived on the fact that the expectation was that Viper would never do that and that he would go fast castle.
Yep.
All right. 70 units killed there for MBL, and there's the overall eco. Indian villagers are cheap. Indians just feel so strong there. More food, more wood, more gold. Good carry from him, and only possible because of his teammates' work. So, Dave, now we go on to China's home maps. And 2 in particular, China have seemed unstoppable on over the past couple years. And the first one's Nomad. The other one that comes to mind is Team Islands. Though Chaos Pit is also wacky and Chaos Put's in there.
It's going to be crazy, all 3 of these maps. I hope we see all 3 of them. This has been an amazing set so far, by the way.
I'm so pleased with this. I was a bit worried after the 3rd place match not being as competitive as I wanted, but if you like high-level age and you want a good conclusion to the tournament, this is it, guys. And we'll have the next home map soon. I'll actually do a quick restart here on my end, Dave, but let's just assume it's Nomad because it's probably what
Nomad.
China will go for. Okay.
I see in the lobby browser right now, they have Nomad loaded up as the map. Hasn't started yet, but we will see that. And I think from the Chinese perspective, we'll probably see do you go Lithuanians?
Okay.
Here?
So you have Lithuanians is a tricky one because you might also want Lithuanians on so many
Or
other
do you
maps.
go Japanese here? That's a potential too. I don't know. Vietnamese, maybe?
Japanese is probably a Team Island pick. I could see something like Vietnamese Lithuanians working really well. But it's less down to what works well, and it's more down to saving civilizations for future maps to everyone who's debating.
It's weird that they pick Nomad and then they would have these civilizations left over. Because there's nothing, other than Lithuanians, there's nothing that just screams Nomad to me. Maybe we'll see Koreans here for the Chinese. Maybe Lix goes Koreans and just is super annoying with the towers.
That's a very Lix thing to do. I mean, one thing I'm still confused on as far as civs go, Italians, probably one of the best island civilizations. Persians, one of the best civilizations for Nomad. And then in Scandinavia, Norway used both of those civs. And then
they'll probably pick Malians.
True. Yeah,
I think Malians are probably the best civ for Nomad, and then maybe Spanish, maybe Malian Spanish, Malians
Oh,
on water, and
damn.
then Spanish with conks.
That's
That seems like a really good combo.
that's honestly top tier. That is as good as
Yeah.
you would want for Nomad. So, yeah, good point. We might go into this, even though it's a home map for China, with Norway having the better civilizations. But I like Vietnamese a lot, Dave, because
Maybe Okay, hear this out. Vietnamese Koreans. Now, one of the big problems with tower rushes and nomads is you don't know where your opponent is. Vietnamese will tell you exactly where their TCs are.
yeah, but does Lix need a tower bonus? I think all Lix needs to know is where you're at. I don't think
I'm
Lix needs
just
any bonuses.
I'm just bringing up possibilities, you
All
know?
right, that's fair. That's fair. This is what we're here for, to talk it through. Well, we'll have our answer here, everybody. Thank you, Kate Man. He says, Samurai be like, where's my sword? Oh, here it is. Where's my sword? Oh, here it is. Yeah, that's what he's doing there on your screen. I noticed that last week.
Hey, there we go. There we go. There we go.
Dave, you called it. Koreans.
Let's go.
All right, so Spanish, they're just sick if they can go fast castle, and that can decide games. When Norway lost to Spain in the semi, it was because Norway was not able to punish and threaten the Spanish player early. So Lix goes Koreans, and so is maybe thinking about towering and denying all that stone from Spanish. Lithuanians for Yo is amazing. You start with so much food, so you can chop wood to then fish earlier, and that's even before we get started on the skirms, the knights, and the monks. But is this a must-win for Norway, Dave?
I think, you know what? I would say it was a must win if they were playing like Team Islands, but they're playing Nomad, and you just kind of expect to lose Nomad against against this team, you know?
Yeah, that's
So
one way of looking at it.
I feel like they can deal on Chaos Pit and Team Islands, but Nomad is just another level of crazy that you can't go into this game thinking it's a must win.
Yo told me yesterday we have strategies prepared. So I don't know if that means that Koreans, Lithuanians has been a practiced strat, but he said that they'd not had to reveal their best strategies. So I don't know, maybe Berbers and Kumans was their strategy. And that just lost them a game. But I think Mali and Spanish are so good, and so are Yo and Lix, that Norway need to tie it up here if they want to win the finals. If they go 3-1 down, you've got to imagine that Yo and Lix are going to get at least one win from the remaining games.
Okay, here we go. Nomad, game number, what is this? Game number 4 now in this set. Norway is down 2-1, and they have, I would say they have the better Nomad civs.
Definitely.
With Malians in Spanish, but look at what's happening on the right, Tristan, already. NBL is, he's TC'd the deer and the wood, which is great, but Lix has a hill advantage over him with his TC.
Okay.
And he's got his second villager there earlier.
Before we freak out too much, there's one restart per best of 7. Also, that dock for Yo is a little interesting. So there's one restart per best of 7, and that's because map gens can be so wild in age. In the past, it was like 2 or 3 per best of 7, but we said, no, screw that. We'll only give them 1. I think with that TC spot, if MBL even figures out over the next 4 minutes the situation, which he might, you got to consider a restart here.
Yeah, especially against Lithuanians. Sorry, that was Yo, not Lix.
Yeah, it's Yo.
I keep getting the colors mixed up. MBL's going to find that with his villager now, and we'll see if he calls it here.
It's actually not an admin re. It's only an admin re if the TCs range each other. So admins would call the restart of the TCs range each other, but I don't think they do, even though it's just out of range. So you have until the 4-minute mark, which is a lot on Nomad. We'll see, Dave. Norway are known for saving them just in case it gets really tough. So I don't know.
Yo is super lucky that he's Lithuanians here, because he TC'd a woodline, and MBL has all the control over the food. And Yo doesn't see, all he sees is 2 deer. He doesn't see any of those boars. He sees 1 extra turkey now.
Yep. This is
with
why
Lithuanians, you can get away with it.
MBL also just got housed pretty badly. So I think everything feels like this might be some type of a re, at least if they're thinking. I don't know if MBL is sharing all this information with Viper, right? But
I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
You know MBL.
Now
in a really high-pitched voice, he's sharing this information with Viper.
Well, we have 15 seconds. We don't see in-game chat, but if the game ends, we'll know it's a MBL. Oh God, and I don't know who
He
called
lost
it.
a villager, dude. Yeah, he.
But wait a second. Yo resigned first. I'll have to hear word from Robo on who called the restart. But I think both teams might have been considering the idea there. So one of them did call the the wise move would be to wait till 3:59 to say it. Someone did it just before that.
You know what? It might have been Yo,
I think so. Yeah.
because all he had was 2 turkeys.
Yeah. I mean, it was rough for both.
Yeah.
At least
But I'm looking at MBL's TC, and at the last second there, he lost a villager. I think that was before the re came.
Yeah, maybe he saw it and he said, forget about it. Because I don't know.
Maybe.
But I think what's nice about that restart is it's not like both teams were in great, or one team was in a great position and the other was in an awful position. I think it was evenly awkward. Robo, shoot me a PM so we know. Actually, he'll probably say it in the group. China called the and they've already started again. So completely different map gen with same civs.
That's really fortunate for Norway.
Yep. Now watch it happen again. TCs need to go up right away on Nomad. That's extremely important. So there's nothing stopping that from happening again. But is this not why China likes Nomad, Dave? It's their first home map pick because their best skill is adapting to the chaos.
Yep.
All right. It'd be a real admin decision if right at 4 minutes, which is the latest time you could say it, both teams said it. What do you go, alphabetical there?
You get host priority on the appearance of the text.
Yeah, seriously. Right, so we're back in. This map gen is different, Dave, because it's heavily landlocked on one side, which becomes a factor. And no TCs yet for the players, no dock positions, none of that. It looks like MBL is going to be safe. His TC is going up here. I see Viper. He's on the other side. And actually, the teams are kind of split up here. I guess Yo is more towards the middle. And then you have Licks far, far away with Koreans.
Yeah, I think Licks has a nice TC spot on gold, stone, and wood with some food options near. But I think if you're in China's position, you would want Licks closer. I'm assuming that he's going to go for some tower rush strategy, but he could surprise us and go for war wagons or maybe just turtle ships. You never know.
I think because you get a discount on your navy. If I'm not wrong, I think that you get a discount on all of your units that cost wood. So it's a wood discount on fire galleys is what I'm talking about. You could have Licks go water roll, and then in Castle Age, you could go for guard towers because that upgrade's free. So you don't have to go YOLO feudal.
What are you talking about, wood discount?
There's a wood discount.
For who?
Koreans.
The Malians?
Koreans. On their military.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you knew that. Yeah.
God, man, all these patches, dude. They're adding new stuff to the game. I can't even keep up anymore.
I won't bring up the fact that that's been the case for, I think, ever since DE came out. But
are you serious? Are you actually serious?
But,
oh my God, that's how often I play Koreans. That's how often we see Koreans.
In your defense, type a 1 in Twitch chat if you didn't know that.
Yeah, join me.
And then also, I think that Koreans are underrated because no one ever thinks about that. No one ever talks about that. So
that's hype, dude.
It's hype because it suits them, right? Their Arbalest cost wood. Their Navy cost wood. But anyways, Dave, I'm looking at the Vil counts, which is the big thing. Viper off to watch him call a because he just got housed.
Yeah, maybe.
Honestly, might happen.
That was China's
Oh God, you're right. What if Norway calls a Yeah, well, they're screwed then. That's a rough start. Look, Lick's down to 5 eco just because the production of his TC and his dock was halted due to getting pop capped. Pop capped on Nomad is, can I say it's a no? Or is that too bad of a joke to make?
Yeah, it is a no-no.
Okay.
You really want to keep your houses rolling. And it's a map you'll find yourself pop capped on quite a bit because you're producing the TC and the dock at the same time, right?
It's not too bad, though. Yo and Viper off to a good start with their bonuses. And now we have to pay very close attention to if they spot each other, Dave, because the turkeys are out and about scouting. Yo scouting with this one. MBL, he hasn't spotted anything just yet. And then Viper, well, I don't know where his villager came from. It looks like no one has spotted the enemy yet. And also, his villager was just bugged out there, but he's fixed it. Good stuff, Viper.
Yeah, Yo's on the hunt for the enemy. He's looking. He just passed a turkey from Viper, just passed a turkey from Yo.
What's up, Jim? Just
And
scouting.
Lix is signaling the north of the map, so he must be saying, like, he's probably scouted the south. Yeah, he scouted quite a bit of the south.
Yeah.
So he probably just assumes with Yo, the information he's getting from Yo, that they're up there at the north somehow.
Now, dock positions are huge, and you have Lix, who is definitely behind, and this could mean later to Feudal Age, which is massive on Nomad. He's docked that right side. He's very close to the Viper. And then you swing that around, you have MBL in the west, and then you have Yo. So it's kind of China, Norway, Norway, China. They could, in theory, sandwich the Norwegians on water if they both choose to go for that, but that's really uncommon.
Yo just found MBL. And MBL, like, if there's one player in this game that could be really threatened by a tower rush here, it's probably MBL. Look at his stone placement, gold placement, his one wood line there. And there's not many areas to run for him.
What a pro lore here from Yo. No loom, pulled it from all the way over here, blocking with the turkey. He only took 2 hits from that boar and brought it all the way to his base. That's an experienced Nomad player right there. Just the small things that pros do with such confidence when the pressure's on.
MBL found Lix now. He just signaled that for Viper.
Okay.
So they're getting a map awareness here, and they're starting to figure out where their opponents are.
And also Viper located the dock from Lix. So that... It's interesting because Viper normally wouldn't play the water roll. He just wants to fast castle safely. We'll see what happens. No one's clicked up yet, Dave, but it should be coming shortly for the players going fast feudal.
What is Yo doing with this lumberjack over near MBL? He knows he's there. Is he going to lame like the stone, or is he just exploring?
I think he's just exploring. Isn't it a Korean team bonus that your villagers have more line of sight?
Yes.
Or is it... I didn't know if it was a team bonus or just a Korean bonus. So that really helps, and he's just going to place a house there for now.
I think, yeah, that's a team bonus. You're asking me all these bonus Koreans questions, dude. No,
sorry.
it's just a regular bonus. It's not a team bonus.
Really? I need to see a villager from Lix now.
Yeah, it's
There's
just
a
a
big
regular
difference.
bonus.
Okay, regular bonus.
You're
Gotcha.
messing with my mind now, dude.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to, I promise. It's because I'm also confused. Pretty late uptimes, Dave. Isn't it possible to click up around 25 pop on this map? I guess we have it now.
It's possible. Usually you're higher than that, unless you're going for like a YOLO strategy.
Okay. MBL up, but Malian saves a lot on his dock, so he can afford to do this. And wait a second. He thought about placing a mining camp there on stone, so is he not going only on water? I think a signal from MBL. He's saying there's a crossing here. I love how much vision the turkeys give. Viper will be the last in feudal, Dave, but good position for him.
Viper is so
keeps his fish
exposed on
alive.
that stone that he went to.
I don't even
Like
see it.
it's in the middle of the map.
Whoa! Holy, you're not kidding.
That's the only stone that he found. I don't think he found the one. Oh, he did find the one to the right, but I guess he doesn't want to go for that because he knows Yo is over there somewhere.
We have these barracks touching.
Oh my god.
They're hugging. Barracks v barracks over here. I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you get a hill bonus against the enemy barracks, you can out barracks the barracks. And I guess MBL knew that Lix was down here, but he didn't know that Yo was this close. So this is awkward. It's got to be scouts then for both of them, and maybe MBL tempted to tower that wood line, which is why he wanted villagers on stone a moment ago. And there he goes, tower and stable.
Tower scouts is a really strong combination on Nomad. Because you have those fishing ships to give you the food eco, right? You don't have to place the farms. So you can actually produce the scouts as you're placing the towers. And Yo's going to have some difficulty with this one, but he sees it.
Yeah. They just got to feudal, so we could just now make a counter tower.
I don't think MBL's is going to go up there, is it? It's going to be close.
I don't think so. I think you're spot on.
He can also range that with the TC, so he can just kill the tower right away.
I think MBL will be fine. He has to pull the villagers, but now can't make a defensive tower if need be. And it's not even worth committing. Yeah, MBL. Just run away. Get out of here.
I love that wall that Yo put down on the right side, though. completely shuts off MBL from wandering around this way,
And
or the
Licks too.
scouts from
To
going
the
in
right,
that way.
Licks did the same,
Mhm.
Dave. Pretty sick stuff. I think Viper's in trouble on water. Licks did this before, and you were, I think, in Twitch chat when I was casting in a group stage. He's just making galleys, because galleys
they're
will snipe
better.
the fishing ships a bit faster.
I think it's better, to be honest. Like, you can run around with the mobility with the galleys. Like, if you're not planning on committing to water,
Yeah.
a few galleys is probably better than a couple fire ships because they just take so long to kill fishing ships.
Yeah, he didn't go for multiple docks, so you're right. He's not committing. I don't like it because you give up your own fish, but he wants to go to Castle Age.
Forward bills.
Boy,
Yo has made scouts.
MBL, quick walls. Well played, MBL. That was beautiful.
And unfortunately for Viper, his stone is right there, and Yo's gonna find it. There's the market for Viper. There's the stone for Viper that's extremely exposed, like I was talking about before. Viper's gonna try and quick wall his villagers.
Crazy stuff. And here comes Yo. Immediate reaction, Dave. He wants to take Viper off of stone. It's a good call, but Viper could still have fishing ships, and Viper could probably buy a couple hundred stones. So having 500 in the bank right now is not the end of the world.
See what that galley's doing for Licks?
It's still over there?
Yeah, it got away the first time, and he's already killed 2 more fishing
Licks
ships.
is so annoying. I hope I never have to play him. I love watching him, but 2 fires should easily take care of this, and he's so sneaky, man.
And Yo is actually towering the stone from Viper. Now suddenly Viper, the Spanish player who wants to get into Conquistadors,
Doesn't have access
will
to
have no stone.
For now, right? He's still got that gold. MBL still has some units to support. I think whoever makes the most scouts here will be in a fine position because they could snipe all these exposed vills. Yo's got exposed villagers on the golds, and now the deer, as Yo realizes he's exposed. MBL's just passing. That's super unfortunate. Had the potential, and now very little potential to do damage after that quick gate.
Galley's coming back.
No way. It's still there?
It keeps retreating it to the... This is what I'm talking about. Galleys are so good at this. Just raiding fishing ships.
Dave, Lick's coming forward. Licks has enough stone to drop a castle, and MBL is very close by. He's going to walk right through that gate. Where will the castle be at?
There's a spearman from MBL. MBL could be notified of this early. No, he's going around the other way. Castle, is it going to be on the gold?
Can he see that? Oh, he just got vision of that, but he didn't signal because he's focused with his army and his forward villagers. He's going to play... I hope he doesn't place a tower there. Oh, he's going to place a tower there, but not against Koreans, and this is the second straight series.
But MBL is on the... MBL is on the villagers for Mr. Yo, and Mr. Yo has to go back. Yo wants to support his ally in that castle placement, but MBL's being so annoying there.
Yeah, also the forward spearman for MBL, very helpful. Yo will probably get away. That castle's going up. MBL has some real concerns, and war wagons could come out. Meanwhile, does Viper have a castle yet? He doesn't have a castle yet, Dave.
Nope. No, and Yo completely pushed Viper off that stone. He took out the tower with his own villagers, and he's going to outpost around and figure out where Viper is taking resources, where he might be taking more stone.
By the way, the fishing ship's still working for Licks in this little inlet.
Viper.
And the galley's still there! The galley's still there! And Viper even has a turtle ship now. He's making whatever he can to kill that stupid galley.
Viper also was 7 stone away from making a castle. He was 643. He had to buy the extra 100. And now he's going to go out and place a castle in the middle of the map. Not ideal for him.
There's an outpost there. Viper's quick walling. Can Yo make a tower? That's a good castle if it goes up. It's a risky one, though. Well done, Viper.
You know what I think Licks should do right now? You know what I would do in Licks' situation?
Wait a second.
Get that castle right on MBL.
That turtle ship was not Viper's.
That
it just dawned on me.
Dude.
It just dawned on me. It took me a second. I'm sorry, everyone. Like, how did Viper make a turtle ship? Did he convert it? Oh, man. MBL's in big trouble. Guard tower now on his wood line, and he might even need to relocate. Yeah.
Like, if Licks he's making a siege workshop. I guess he doesn't have the food eco for it, but I would love to see petards in this situation just to take out the TC and kill everything. But I guess war wagons and siege are enough, and extra towers as well. And wow, this looks good for the Chinese.
It does. I mean, Yo's position is also going to be awkward soon because Viper can make honks. But Viper doesn't... He's not even mining gold right now, Dave. All the gold's either been towered or has been spotted, and He might find it soon. MBL is just running away as the war wagons will chase him down. And I'd say that the one thing Norway can do is keep making use of the scouts and get these conks in the mix right now. MBL picks off a Vil, and the conks are coming out. So there's potential maybe to even swing over to Lix's eco. Lix is adding a second town center now, but not a lot at home.
Emil ran right into the house from Mr. Yo, and Lix has cartography, and he knows there's villagers over here.
Oh boy.
So he might actually send his wagons over. Half of MBL's economy is just open.
Dave, the galley.
Completely open.
The galley. It's back. It's going
back.
to MBL's fishing ships. You gotta be kidding me. Like, it happens so frequently. With Lix, it's not luck. It's just how he plays. Unbelievable to watch. And MBL's sent some Vils to the left, some more Vils going to the right now. Still has plenty of scouts, but not many open spots over at the enemy's bases.
And not even close to going up to Castle Age either for him. And he's going to lose his fishing ships to the stupid galley over here. So there goes your feud eco. And oh man, Yo has found the villagers from MBL on the left side, and he signaled it for Lix. And Lix is coming in here now with war wagons to clear this up.
I genuinely feel bad for MBL. They should have banned Nomad.
And now Yo is villager rushing the towers from MBL on his base, and MBL is going to lose those 4 villagers.
So 3 things happening to him at once. Losing fishing ships to the galley, and soon the turtle ship. The towers. I mean, how good is this strategy? This has to be the strat that Yo was talking about yesterday when he said we have strats prepared, because we have not seen Koreans work on Nomad or even be picked on Nomad up to this point.
Yeah, it's really strong. And, Koreans, not a bad Nomad civ in and of themselves because of that line of sight at the beginning too, right?
Yeah.
You can find a spot really, really easily.
MBL's, he's getting closer to Lix's town centers, and there's still scouts here from Yo, who's still in feudal himself, Dave, but we haven't seen Viper's Conquistadors do too much, and Lix is just going to pull Vils.
MBL is just running, dude.
He's over here taking deer, has to drop a lumber camp. Oh, boy.
This seems over.
I'm not so sure because MBL's still doing damage with his scouts. He just sniped some villagers from Yo. It's not like Yo's position is good, and Viper's right next to him, and Viper has stone. But it does feel like, why is Lix chasing with these villagers? That MBL has no chance, certainly. Why is Lix sending these villagers? Why is he chasing when there's scouts there? Okay,
why is he making a tower?
I think he just spotted that Viper's coming in. Yeah, his immediate reaction to Viper coming in was drop a tower there just in case. And okay, now he deletes the tower when it's at 75% and will drop a town center. Okay, Lix, you do you.
The problem for Norway here is that even if they kill Mr. Yo, they're going to spend so much time killing this one base from him.
Yeah.
And China's going to have control over 80% of the map. Norway is going to be stuck in this tiny little area up here. And China is also going to have water control as well, so they can range it from the shoreline.
Also, it feels like war wagons are a great answer to conquistadors. And this is a patch ago, guys. So if you play Age of Empires 2DE today, the armor upgrades come in for free. Look at Yo with these villagers sneaky behind Viper's base. Not even buffed Koreans. It doesn't matter. And into the tower, Yo's villagers go.
He's so annoying. We say Lix is annoying, but if you get Yo with villagers in the back of your base, he can be extremely annoying as well. And he's keeping them alive for as long as possible. And that's conk numbers that Viper can't send into the economy from China.
I'd like to see more of this from Lix. He's about to get the ball rolling with guard towers, Dave. Guard towers to deny resources. He's on top of Viper's town center. Viper's done a heck of a job. He's 63 pop somehow.
Yeah. But
can he defend from guard tower, Maganel, and war wagon? Maybe a few monks, maybe a few missionaries. He did get one conversion there. You know, the missionary or conversion luck wasn't there for Viper yesterday. Don't convert the low one. There you go, Viper. Convert those high HP ones. And I'm seeing signals from Yo. He's saying, look over here. MBL's got to be over there. He's nowhere else. Hunt him down.
Love the RAM edition from Lix. That's really smart. It's just going to force the issue, right? Viper has to engage against that. And Lix can pick off any army that is out of place. And repair it. Just bring it back. Repair it. Easy.
That's so funny. Viper has to micro his town center arrows against the villager. I'd say ram down that monastery for now. What's Yo's eco situation? Finally, Yo clicks up. It felt like he should have done that faster. But he's been very focused on hunting down MBL, and also MBL's been raiding him still. MBL's position, actually on the way to Castle Age, they did not ram down that town center, and he'll make it, Dave.
Yeah, 37 villagers for him.
If it wasn't
Which
for the
is
lack of
something.
space, I would say that this is kind of winnable for Norway.
It's gonna be a tough slog. Gonna be a very tough slog. Viper has to take a whole bunch of really great fights, and MBL has to get his economy back into the game without being hit somehow.
Look at Yo. Stables, archer ranges. He's just building buildings right between Viper's eco and MBL's eco. So I think Yo is allowing Licks to boom while he's towering, and Yo is now going to be a pest. Knights soon. Maybe elite skirms? That's probably why he has the ranges. And Viper sees that, but Viper also needs to deal with the wagons. Fast conversions, though. Hey,
And maybe not a fight that Lix wants to take here. I was talking about Viper taking good fights. Lix just lost all of his war wagon numbers for free, basically.
dude, he was repairing the Rams with his villagers right underneath the town center. The only time I've seen that is against the Barbarian AI. I don't know if I've ever seen a human do that in this situation against conks like that. And Viper's dropping a castle there, and MBL's gating it up. Norway can do this. All of those buildings are useless now. Dave, coinage for MBL. So whatever resources he does get, he'll send towards Viper. Viper will have 2 castles to make conquistadors. Is this winnable for Norway?
It's gonna, I keep saying this, it's gonna be tough. Lix is equal on villager numbers now with Viper.
Yeah.
Viper just has to make it happen. Like, everything rides on him. But we say, Viper's denying all those military buildings. And I look at the right side of Viper's base, and there's 3 yellow villagers walking in. He's gonna make more over in this area and kind of pinch Viper into that middle.
Look at Yo's
Middle
scouting
hail.
for a second. Look at the scouting for China. They see everything. They know that the enemy's not on the other side. They have that map advantage, but Viper also being aware that the villagers went that way, Dave. He's hunting them down. He is looking, but he's got some other problems to deal with at the same time.
How does Viper ever push this back? Like,
Imp.
in time?
Yeah, Imp. Stone walls
Yeah, but
from
like,
Yo.
look at the left side of the map. Like, Lix has siege workshops, wagons, guard towers over there. It's just time. It's gonna take so much time for Viper to push it back.
Yeah,
And that
castles
gives
to
time to Yo to boom up in this huge expansive area to the south.
MBL's only behind Yo by 10 villagers, and the conquistadors feel strong enough to take out war wagons, but just this constant pressure from Lix. I'd say if Yo was in Lix's position, China 100% win because of Yo's ability to boom while pressuring.
Yeah.
But Lix isn't doing quite as good a job. 3 villagers queued out of 1. His 4 TCs, the other ones are idle. And that's
the
great
war
micro
wagons-
from Viper.
War wagons are not taking the best trades here against the conks. I mean, they're delaying them a little bit, and they've given the Rams time to take out the TCs as Lix comes forward with another guard tower in the middle.
I like the towers. It's just the eco is really important. If you're investing into towers that can just get castled down, this becomes a problem. And I think especially because Viper will be on 3 castles and receiving resources from MBL, this is getting more and more winnable for Norway as long as Viper can get his food eco up. He only has 14 on food. That is not enough for Imp. Not even close.
And there's latest wandering around his base too
Ouch.
from Mr. Yo.
Dave,
So
maybe
that's
that's the
gonna
thought
hurt a lot.
process. Just raid and don't worry about anything else if you're China.
Yo could potentially, if he gets maybe gets a sling from Lix, could go up to Imp and start trebbing those castles down from Viper. I mean, Viper has to spend food cost on conquistadors, right? Yo doesn't really have that necessity, so maybe he could get the resources here.
At what point does gold become a problem for Norway? I'm not seeing much over there.
I think it's already a problem, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, they've only got 1 patch each.
Licks at 106 pop, still refusing to quit. A 2 villager castle between these towers. They just want to hold that map control. 30 on food. Viper's got 25, so he's upping his farming number, and the latest will die to the conquistadors, but he's also spending a lot of food, something Lix is not doing. MBL.
I'd love to see some water pressure here. Just a few ships from the Chinese up along the north side of the map. And just keep pressuring them. Just keep pushing them into a smaller and smaller space.
Yeah, it's a good point. But I think game plan has certainly worked out for China to get to this position. MBL 53 villagers, Yo 72, Licks 105, Viper 70. Constantly looking for positives for the Norwegians. We're down 2-1 already. I'm with you, Dave, though. I think the lack of gold is a problem. Get Viper to Imp, and that's maybe your only chance. But he continues to make conks because he needs to, and
he's making another castle.
Wow.
Desperately trying to secure this stone and gold in the middle.
Funny enough, that won't do it because of the new castle from Licks. I think the guard towers might get shot down, but that new castle will still deny space. So crazy how many unique units we've seen in this tournament.
You know,
War Wagons fire is so slow.
As bad as Lix's trades have been here with the War Wagons, he's doing the job that he needs to do, which is just delay.
Yep.
Delay Viper as long as possible. Make him have to constantly produce conquistadors throughout the Castle Age, so he can't go up to Imperial Age. But I'm saying that, and he is on the way, but so is Lix.
They're both up.
At the exact same time, too.
That's crazy. Yeah, almost. We have to look at the statistics. It looks like Viper is a split second faster. MBL's full sling mode. So
Where's MBL going on the left side of the map? Another group of villagers.
he knows the gold is there. That's worth the risk, though, because there's no like towers or outposts over there. Taking that gold could change the game. You already think you're going to lose. That will all go to Viper, and we're talking about Trebs and Conquistadors and War Wagons soon. Which do you prefer, Dave? Oh my God, Yo. On the right side,
I'd say conks are more mobile, so I'd rather have conks, but like with this map position, mobility doesn't really give you much, does it?
That's a good point, especially with the walls that China have on that right side.
You're going to be fighting over the same area. There's already been so much blood spilt over this middle area, and it's going to continue that way for the rest of the game.
Also, mining camp was somehow spotted, and maybe a unit was over there, so that's something that is kind of rough to spot if you do have MBL as green on your screen, but something that should easily be dealt with by Yo with a single knight. Get ready for Trebs. We have 1, 2, 3 castles. We've got 1, 2, 3. I mean, there's castles everywhere. Viper, I think, has one more in this area. He actually has no wood, Dave. He has 24 wood.
Yep. And where's he going to take it? There's like one completely safe wood line in his base, I think. And Yo is still running around with those latest. Viper right now has 18 conks chasing these latest around his base.
Damn, I am just mesmerized by this play. Viper's receiving Sling, Malians, and Spanish. One of the best comps. One of the best combos that you can have on Nomad.
Look at Viper's castle position. He's got 3 up the gut. Lix is like, okay, I can't push that. So I'm just going to walk around with my castles. I'm going to surround you. And Viper's getting supremacy? What the hell?
Oh my God. Is he really going to fight with villagers? That's just for defense, right? I don't think fighting with villagers would change it. Supremacy makes the Spanish villagers very, very tanky. Spanish also have Inquisition. Nobody expects it.
Does he get sappers? That's the key.
Yeah, sappers if he attacks buildings, right? I think it's just for defense, and he's hoping for the best with the Treb War. The thing is, he also has a shortage of stone available. He has a shortage of everything, but stone's the big one if he wants to repair. And maybe it's worth it for Viper to take out that Treb. He'll get one. Will he? He will. Dave, Yo is on the way to Imp. He hasn't needed to do much except raid with a few latest. He's got 53 farms. He could go for anything, really. Paladin is probably on the cards. Not making much right now, but
look
still.
at the Vil counts from the Norwegians.
Yeah, too low.
73 for Viper, 64 for MBL.
AD for Viper, it's not the worst, right? He's traded pretty decently, but...
He's trying to lame the gold on the left side of Yo and Lix's base.
He's got a monk over there. Yeah, he's doing whatever he can to get gold for Viper. And Viper with a big fight. He's using the villagers. And he's cleared up 2 castles here, Dave. The villagers are actually tanking the War Wagon fire. Viper is giving Norway a fighting chance.
Who would have thought? You're going to send villagers forward as a meat shield and then have conquistadors behind. Very strong play from Viper. Lix has 4 trebs of his own, though. And he's going to start taking out the trebs from Viper. He's already taken out 2 castles. The villagers are going to take out that bombard cannon.
What value? Who knew
the
villagers
people are
would be this
rising
important?
up here.
Yeah.
The people are rising up.
But the GG's called anyways. I think they know now that Yo's an imp that trouble's coming, and Norway have maybe felt for a while that they were outmatched. The score's 3-1, and again, I'd like to reiterate that Viper and MBL had a fantastic draft for Nomad. Not that Lithuanians and Koreans are bad, but if you've watched this tournament, it's been either Persian Spanish or Persian's Burmese or Malian Spanish, Malian's Burmese is the top picks. And Norway had that right there. If what do we have to say about how China played this? Their first home map and probably their best map. What was the key?
I think China's communication was amazing. Just looking at their signals and like where they were prioritizing their pushes.
Yeah.
It was really, really well coordinated. I also think Viper made a bit of a mistake going for that stone in the middle of the map when he had stone on the right side that he's taking right now. And I checked his point of view. He could see that. So it was very risky. And as soon as he got pushed off of that, he was delayed from the conquistadors for like, what, 4 or 5 minutes?
Quite a long time. Yeah.
And it hurt him a lot. And yeah, I mean, but what can you say? Yo and Lix are amazing on this map, and they proved it.
Yeah, seriously. I was checking to see if that galley was still around, because I think that really started it all off. Viper, who was getting threatened by towers and scouts, then had to deal with the galley, couldn't track it down. Then it became a turtle ship and massive little fish boom for Yo down here in the south this entire time. So map gen certainly it plays a role in Nomad. And we did see a restart for China after that wacky little start the first time they tried this. No restarts for Norway. They probably felt like they were in a good spot with the civs and didn't expect Koreans to be that strong. All right, so I'm going to breeze through these statistics. Dave, if you could talk to the viewers about the upcoming map, I need to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Guys, if Norway don't win here, they are getting second place, and China will be champions. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I take a break?
We'll take break turns, okay? I take break, you take break. How's that sound?
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
All right, so it looks like the next map that's going to be coming up is Valley. What's up, chat, by the way? I get to talk to you without my, what do we call him? Like, babysitter, minder? I don't know. Parental figure? No, that would be weird. He's younger than me. What up, boys and girls? Thanks for coming out. Hey, we got 21,000 people. I know T90 said his goal was 25,000. We need 4,000 more. There's 21,000 people here. I assume that most of you are in contact with your mom and your dad and your family. So maybe get them on the stream. Maybe get some friends tuning in. It would help a lot. You know, 2020 has been an amazing year for us. We cracked the 20,000 viewer barrier for the first time ever in January of this year. And then we hit 55,000 during Hidden Cup. And we've had some other milestones along the way. So it'd be beautiful to cap this year off with a 25K. I think that would be fantastic.
Were you calling the moms?
I said contact your family members.
Because of that one person who got really upset because you said call your moms. Yeah, family members, all of them. That's more than just the moms. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, thanks, chat. I imagine Dave said something along the lines of this is amazing. So thank you, guys. It means a lot. And I think... I have to restart my game, but I think we have the next game, and it has to be on Valley. That's the only map that Norway have left.
Yep, it is on Valley, and we're looking at Magyar's Tatars for Yo and Lix, and we're looking at Saracen's Malay for Viper and MVL.
Oof.
Very interesting Civ combo.
Saracen's Malay, huh? That's funky. That's really funky, because typically you'd want to have a Knight Civ and an Archer Civ. If it goes late, Dave, how sick would it be to see harbors from Malay in the middle? Because you can dock in the middle of this map.
I mean, if we're seeing harbors, which one is Malay though? Malay is MBL.
Okay.
It's not Viper.
Yeah, no
So
fish
I
traps.
doubt we're gonna see harbors.
No fish traps. I like
Maybe
how.
they learned something though from the Kara Valley strat from the Russians.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
they learned that water pressure is actually decent here.
Well, before we hop in, thank you, Jiva and Badata, for all the gifted subs to the stream. I pay the iron price with no message. Donated $30 to the stream. Thank you. Bakshi also donated 25. So sick torn 1890 salute. Appreciate it. Al Hadim as Sharknado. Thank you for the primes and chat. Can Norway come back? I think chat is actually split pretty 50-50 on this opinion, but let's see. Can they do it? Seems pretty 50-50, Dave.
I think they've definitely got a chance here. I mean, this
I
is
agree.
their final home map. They obviously had this in mind. These are weird civ selections.
Yeah.
So they had to have this planned out before. And maybe we'll see like, I don't know, archers camels. It just seems weird.
If it's weird,
to have
though,
two archer civs.
it's either they didn't have the draft completely thought through and they made a mistake, or they have a really good strategy that they have not shown yet. Norway is not necessarily known for hiding strats and saving them. But I'm really hoping that's the case for them. Viper playing as the Saracens. Anything can happen with this crazy civ. Teamed up with MBL, playing as the Malay. And then Yo is in the yellow. Yo is playing Magyars. He forgot to pick... we have Malay and Magyar. That's perfect. And then Lix is Tatars. You know, it also could be we're getting to the point of the draft where the non-ideal civilizations come out, Dave, because all those good civs have been picked after 4 games already.
But like this combo, if you're talking about non-ideal civilizations, the teams will know when they're picking civs for previous games what they want for the next maps, right? So Norway would be like, in a standard conversation, they would be like, okay, we want a cav civ and we want an archer civ for Valley, because that's just how you play.
Yeah.
This tells me they have something planned.
Yeah. Now,
Rather than
Tatars,
just reacting.
I guess Tatars in this instance go archers. So it's a civ that has been picked. I know Spain was doing it a lot. They benefit from free thumb ring, in Castle Age, which is beastly, but no Arbalest. So there's definitely a point where I feel against Saracens or Malay, as they both get Arbalest, that Chinese could struggle.
Do you think MBL just goes naked FC here?
He's done it
It'd
before.
be a very MBL thing to do with Malay.
He was walling with 10 villagers last time I saw him on this map, but currently, it was really early last time. We'll see. But I do notice that Lix's scout is waiting around MBL's woodline, and he's pretty much been waiting for Yo to arrive, and MBL, he's onto his tricks. He knows the deal.
Look at Viper's walls. Really early as well.
Oh, am I behind by chance? No. Oh, I am. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Okay. Yep, this is making more sense. Yeah, early walls with a civ that can be extremely greedy, Dave. I'm all caught up. I'm sorry. These live games throw me off, and I didn't realize how far behind I was because there's no indicator.
Well, you're talking about greedy civs. We got 2 on one team. Saracens and Malay.
Yeah.
Like, you can get really, really greedy with both of these.
I think this might be Naked FC, as we call it. No military, fast castle. And I think Lix and Yo... Well, do you think it benefits Lix and Yo's style to try and pressure that, or just sit back and accept it?
I think they are, when they're in the driver's seat, it's when they're pressuring their opponents.
Okay.
I feel like they're much more comfortable if they're behind on villagers in the middle of their opponent's base than if they're like behind walls and maybe equal on eco.
Now, what if you're harassing the enemy's eco, but behind their walls? Does Lix like that?
Yeah, I think, Lix would take that one for sure.
Okay. Too bad we've never seen that. But good job from Viper here. You could have easily lost a villager while walling earlier and quick walled it. Now he's adding a Rax, and this looks like very fast archers for him, and Lix is actually adding militia. This seems to be Drush fast castle, something Viper will not have scouted. Very fast archer. Well, it's not the fastest archer build ever for Viper, if I'm being honest.
The Saracens, he's sending none to gold.
Not yet, but I think he has done the right thing to wall off these hills. These hills are going to be brutal against Tatars. There's always hills in the front of players' bases. I say always, as Lix has most of his to the left side. But the Drush hasn't arrived yet, Dave, and it's Vipers. So you'd expect that Viper can get some gates and quick walls, and the militia might not even break through. But a C. Reaction time from Viper. Quick wall. House wall. Yep, Viper's doing a good job here. Still will have to worry about the wood line. But all Lix is looking to do here is buy time. He's not looking to kill. It would be a bonus.
Yeah, Viper can shut this down though, I think. If he gets more villagers under his TC anyway, because Lix can run right through there with only 2 vills under there. But if he walls, yeah, he's walling his wood line in. He's walling his berries in a little bit now.
So I just picked up on what MBL's doing, and it's really fascinating and something you would rarely see on a map like this. He's going for a build that you would see sometimes on Arena. Oh, wait.
Eco upgrade? No, he's going stable, dude. Do
Oh.
you see this on Arena a lot? Or
I mean, not really,
I
no.
haven't seen this very much on Arena.
Well, it's an interesting one because Viper's trying to wall up, and if he's not walled up, then Yo can send in scouts. So Viper's really under pressure right now, and MBL even has his scout here to help the Viper, as now Yo arrives with 1 scout, and another one will be on the way. So I guess he needs to offer Viper some more support, and that's the logic.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking along the same lines as you. Like, go up quick with the melee, get the eco upgrades,
Yep.
and then...
But then again, that's greed that we've seen from Norway before, and it doesn't pay off against Yo and Lix when you give them the advantage. But good little fight there. Viper and Yo lose the scout. Viper will take that. And I don't think there's a hole here on the front, so Viper can comfortably defend from the militia with the archer and the spearman. It'll take time, but he'll defend, and I'm just waiting for the market. And Viper's actually adding that market on the back side of his base, and even letting MBL out. That's cute.
It's nice.
Yeah, not bad. I guess the Chinese players are not aware that the villager's there. They assume it's fully walled. Wait a second. Scouts find each other as Yo's checking. But yeah, market means the stone will be sold, lots of food will be purchased, and Viper will go for a 6 at castle time.
Just wonder, how many scouts does MBL produce here? Like 3? Because he's fully walled. His ally is fully walled. It's just going to set you back. The more scouts you produce, like, how much damage are you realistically going to do?
Yeah, I think this is a solid number. There's no threat now that Yo is going to pressure Viper, so I think you stop now. That said, Yo's not completely walled yet, so a good play for Yo might be to assume Viper is walled and send his scouts home. It would be a poor decision for MBL to send the scouts to Lix in this spot, I think. Lix will soon be clicking up to the next age.
Oh, Yo might actually find that villager. No, Viper's hiding him.
So
He's just
sneaky.
going to let him in casually. Okay, wall behind, and you're good to go.
I feel like that's such a Viper thing to delete a hole, go to the other side, then whoop, right back over without the enemy spotting it.
Well, Lix just did it, so...
Wait, Lix just did what? Sorry?
At his base. You were literally saying, I think that's such a Viper thing. You explained it all, and then I watched Lix do exactly the same thing.
With the blacksmith? That's funny. I don't like MBL's decision to send his scouts all the way to Lix. Had he clicked over to Yo's base, Yo would not have had the walls down. These are some greedy walls. But then again, Dave, what civ do you not want to rely on palisade walls against? That's Saracens.
Saracens, yep. And Lix is actually the first person up to the castle age, even with that Saracen archer build. I guess, Viper just spent so much time walling.
Yep.
That he's going to be behind. And Lix is going to be there probably, a minute faster than him? More than that.
Yeah, the dangerous thing about Saracens is early castle because they can get there fast. But Dave, Viper went 2 archer ranges against someone going Drush FC. Would it not make more sense to just go 1 range and then you can be in castle age faster and then add the 2nd range while you're on your way up? I don't know.
It kind of feels like he wants that mass. And this is telling me that maybe he's going to do the old, 2013 China strat against China, where you full wall, you delete a wall, you run around, and then you try and sneak in. And to do that, you're going to need a mass. You're going to need at least like 10, 12 archers to punch through the walls.
All right, this eco will not last Viper long term. He also needs to mass because he needs to deal with fast castle crossbows. So it probably knows that he'll be in Castle Age behind Lix. But Lix only has 4 military. But I see a villager from Lix. This is, okay, just for a gate. Lix needs to have some really good micro. On the other side, Yo still hasn't clicked up, and MBL is on the way with Malay.
Yeah, MBL is going to get there around the same time, actually ahead of Viper. Like, you're just so broken with that.
This is
that
perfect.
Uptime speed.
I think everyone who's enjoyed the Legend of the Liar video on YouTube is going to love this. MBL is going to go for cheap elephants, 3 stables, and he's going to all in towards one side, and Viper's going to accompany him with Saracen crossbows. I don't see how China stops this. That's a lot, man. They need to buy time because they will get shredded by that comp.
God, you just like, you hope for good conversions and that your monks aren't sniped by the crossbows from the Saracen player, and then maybe add in some scorpions. It's a really tough combo to stop.
But what can give them time, because these are kind of all in, is pressuring. Yeah, and that's what they're doing right now, China.
Unfortunately for him, though, Viper has many more archers
Lots.
than Lix.
No fletching yet, though, so fletching has to come in. Also doesn't have the resources yet for Bodkin. I'd like to see Lix take the hill, so you could do a hill bonus against the house, but pick off archers, Lix. Viper runs away. Box formation, that's cute. Waiting for the elephants.
This is a great triple stable build by MBL. Unfortunately, he doesn't have enough to produce from 2 stables, let alone 3.
These things are so slow. I'm really curious how this is going to go, because one of the rare times you see high elephant commitment from Malay in competitive play, but Viper just needs a meat shield, Dave, and then he can kill everything, and he has the meat shield now. These big chunguses are going across the map, and Viper says, let's go.
Yep. He's getting ballistics, too. He's going to have a gigantic, massive crossbows, elephants in front soaking up the damage, and it's going to be rough for Lix, to say the least. This is going to be extremely rough.
Yeah, I think you go for high-risk buildings now. Maybe a siege workshop and a monastery. You know, there's no guarantee you'll get a big shot, but if you do, it's great. A tower for Lix, I don't know about that one, as he's trying to delay this force from hitting his gold, which is very much forward. Yo will have Magyar Knights, so +2 attack on that. Lix needs to delay as much as possible. Lots of crossbows being created right now. Actually, well done from Lix. He did not lose that main force, and he now has the tower up. But Viper can shred towers, I think, with these crossbows.
Yeah, and Viper has ballistics here, too, so it's going to be able to take good engagements against those crossbows. Opted to run away
Maybe shift
and go with his
over.
teammate MBL. At some point, MBL is going to have enough Ls where they can just push in regardless of what Yo is doing or what Lix is doing. And I think we're getting closer to that point in time.
You can't justify doing this with any other civ. Malay elephants are very cheap. And they're very cheap, but they lack the 2nd and 3rd armor upgrades. So if there's enough crossbows with micro, these things are so slow that they could die.
They can just go take out that TC. Like, literally.
Honestly, I think they should do it. What a confidence boost that would be as well. I guess Yo's doing his best to remain a threat on the backside. Ranges might be the smarter play, Dave. If there's no archer ranges for Lix, you can't make crossbow. I meant to pick Magyar. This is crazy. Here comes in Yo. Big fight, Dave. If they take out Viper's crossbows, they can deal with this, and they take the hill.
Yeah, MBL is out of position with the elephants. It's so tough to fight with them because they're so slow.
God.
And Yo loops around, and for free, they wipe up Viper's entire army. That was a fantastic engagement from the Chinese players.
And the elephants are so slow. They can't even get in close to this.
Yep.
Great defense. Lix with the tower and the delay. And then Yo buying his time, biding his time. Oh, it was perfect. And now MBL's elephants can't even get back home. They're dead.
To be honest, I think like the mistake there from Norway was they weren't pressuring somewhere. They were waiting to take a fight straight up.
Instead of going in.
With elephants, you have to press the issue. You have to.
On the tower, on that palisade gate. Yeah, they
force China to take an awkward fight against you. Don't fight them in the open, because China will utilize that mobility of the knights. You can see Yo doing it again.
Yeah.
Running right through
Elephants
the
are useless.
Into the crossbows.
Old quote from MBL, I can't run through the elephants. Except he has the elephants now. It's funny how we have knights on crossbows, elephants on crossbows, but mobility matters so much. Yo, losing a lot there, Dave. But let's look at the economies. MBL has 58 villagers. So it hasn't quite been all in YOLO Ellie. See, he might be able to switch out of this. I don't know what you switch into, though, because knights certainly are much worse. I guess they're more mobile. Over Lix's side, it's not like Lix has this booming economy. He's full on 1 TC. It looks like he's Saracens. So if Viper can switch onto some solid eco, you never know. But I see for the first time China looking to dictate the pace of the fights in Castle Age as they head towards... I'm not sure yet, to be honest, but they need to pick a target soon and make Norway react.
They're the problem for them is that if these elephants ever get into their base, they're gonna have nothing to clear it up.
Yeah,
because all their army is forward. And look, MBL can push this whole crossbow army back with just a couple elephants.
and
I think Norway should push, man.
I think so too, but it's a tough decision because if you do that, then say goodbye to MBL's villager lead. As Yo just runs around. MBL quick walling, gate walling, crossbows here. Yeah, maybe they can surround this force now that Lix is on his own, Dave. Good micro from Viper, also good micro from Lix. Thumbring really helping in this spot. Now Lix is actually focus firing down the crossbows. I don't think it was perfect micro, but it was good. And also great job from MBL not to lose more.
Yep. MBL has done really well setting up his economy behind this. And now Lix is losing his army. And suddenly there's like 20 elephants.
It is Lix,
that are
though,
looking for something to hit.
So he still has the highest military count, but that was a poor fight for him. I think the first few fights that worked very good for China, they stuck to a recipe of use the knights and crossbows against only the crossbows and forget about the elephants. So they have to do more of that, and they cannot separate themselves as they did there. Yeah, they're trying, and MBL doing a better job of blocking. Yo's on 3 TCs. So Yo was 63 villagers now. He's definitely in a position to carry the team, and Viper trying to reinforce with crossbows could get massively caught out as he wants to go to that gold.
That was a good play from Viper to pull his villagers back right away and then split the crossbows up to not get his reinforcements killed by the knights. And now Lix and Yo can't do any damage. So MBL, after all of that, MBL lost what, 4 or 5 villagers in his base?
Yeah, it was hard for me to keep track. A lot of idle time, but they still need to push, I think, because of Yo's economy.
Yep.
Guitars on the hill, Dave. MBL spreading the elephants out. Lix using half the group against elephants. I don't think this fight's all that good for Lix and those crossbows.
Clear all those crossbows, yeah.
Oh my god.
You don't want to get close to these elephants.
Oh, and he's still sending reinforcements forward. Okay, I guess he'll save a bit more than we thought. What a weird fight, man. When's the last time? Have we ever seen this, actually? I don't know.
On a super high level, maybe a couple times. But, like, people ask on a regular basis, like, why don't you go for elephants for civs like Khmer or Malay or whatnot that are going into knights? It's because of the mobility. You're just so slow, and it's so hard for you to, you know, help out your teammate, as we saw with MBL in 3 or 4 of those fights. Yo was just running around him, going for the archers from Viper.
Forward monastery from Yo. He's going to make monks to convert some elephants, and he's probably told Lix just defend. Let's see if Norway... let's see if they force the issue this time, Dave. Because there's ranges here you can take out. I think the gold should be your target, not the wood lines. They're going to the same area as they did last time.
Just pressure something this time. Don't hang out in the open.
MBL.
Force China to engage against you.
MBL's house walling a lot, which is impressive. And yeah, I think they can force the issue here. It's 2 armies versus 1. Lix with a lot of crossbows in the queue, only 53 villagers. He even has a lower vill count than Viper currently.
MBL's trying to defend against knights with elephants at home.
That's rough.
That's frustrating.
But
that's what that is.
Look at Lix. Lix has to leave the base with his lumberjacks there.
And we haven't talked about it in a while, but these are Saracen archers, so they can shred buildings if they need to.
It's almost better for Lix if he loses 5 lumberjacks instead of losing his ranges and his crossbows. I think he'd prefer to lose vills over army here because Yo has so much eco and can make so many knights. Still raiding MBL. It's just nonstop.
he is kind of dragging this army over to Yo, and I don't know if Yo is going to appreciate that. At the end of the day, he's going to be like, yo, wait, why'd you bring him over here?
At one point, Yo deleted most of his palisade walls on that one side. Do you see that? He just shift deleted them. I don't need them. I've got TCs.
Do you also see the push that Yo is making in the middle?
I'm waiting
Smush.
for it. Wow.
It's a smush coming in against the elephant player.
Siege monk push for those uninitiated. Monks to convert the elephants, rams to take out the stables, and Viper would need to send some support with crossbows. Will he have crossbows after a big fight here, Dave? So these elephants have seen the world, but that's a lot of knights, a lot of crossbows from China. If they clear this, it's looking very good for China to win the finals. This is all before that push comes in on MBL, and I think MBL's score is just inflated because of the amount of elephants, but there's no damage, and Norway's outputting to China.
Once again, they fought in the open, and they lost because Yo could just focus on the crossbows of Viper, and there's nothing MPL can do. He's just too slow.
Yeah. 100 villagers for Yo.
Viper's on the way to Imp, though.
What?
Yep.
How many does he...
Yep.
They can
5
still
ranges.
win. Oh, they can easily still win.
5 ranges with Saracens on the way to Imp, and he's got how many? Like 30 crossbows?
And
Yeah,
3
they
farms. 3 farms. Which is stupid. Yo is clicked up. Kind of reminds me of game 1 a bit.
And look at Yo's forward.
There's elephants surrounding it.
It's not going to be there for very much longer, that's for sure.
You know, Dave, is it worth it investing into 100 gold monks against elephants that are this cheap? You could argue it's not worth it.
Yeah, you could make that argument. I think it still is, though.
Okay. Also, do you think that they expect Viper to be on the way to Imp right now? China.
Probably not. I mean, Yo's on the way to Imp as well.
Yeah.
He's going to be making Cavalier and Paladin.
Good clear up for Viper. Lix just wants to kill as much as possible, so I think they do realize that Viper's clicked up.
Why was Lix sending forward villagers there?
I was hoping it was for a dock to go for demos, but I highly doubt that. Now, big thing for Yo and for Lix, because those Arbalests are going to be deadly, is can they buy time by threatening MBL? If MBL is saying, Viper, save me, then Viper can never pressure. But the mistake that Norway made earlier was not pressuring Dave. I think they need to allow MBL to get 2v1 for a bit.
Yeah. Luckily for MBL, though, and luckily for Norway, their player that's going to remain in Castle Age for a while will have units that can still be effective against Imperial Age units.
True.
Whereas Lix, like his crossbows, if he's fighting up against Arbalest, or if he's fighting against, you know, like Battle Elephant, they're not going to do that much damage.
Also, right call for Viper. Viper getting the upgrades. He'll go over towards Yo, who is the player that Norway need to worry about. MBL, just cockroach it up and defend. You have to, otherwise Norway are not going to continue in this series. Here's the Viper, Dave.
He's missing that TC there.
All that gold, man. There's so much gold he could hit. Suppose you could take out stables, too. That does help, but it's not really getting an eco lead.
He's on the clock, too. Because at some point, Yo's going to get the armor upgrade, he's going to get Cavalier, and he's going to start producing from all 6 of these.
That's the Cavalier stable. Viper, I feel like Viper's going to pick this stable. Oh, no. I mean, it does take a long time, but how sick would it be to take out the Cavalier stable?
I think he might, actually.
I guess you could take out all 3. Let's see. Viper's going to take them out regardless.
Which one does he target?
Does he go after Eco here? Does he go after Vils?
Oh, he just walks right past it. If only
know.
he knew. If only he knew. And Lix is actually tribbing. Or
Tribbing?
Swinging. Tribbing. You know, sometimes anyway.
What, a tribute is a sling, which is a tribbing.
We used to write tribbing in the game chat when I was younger. So that's why I'm saying tribbing.
Big fight, Dave. Big fight. Oh, man. That's 34 of these units stacked on one tile.
There's a lot of weak Cavalier in there.
Magyar Cavalier, too. And you know what sucks about this? Is that you can have the army numbers, but you can't have the positioning. And now Viper's pushing forward towards Lix. Lix is going to need some real help. And
Dude,
MBL with the elephants in the middle.
Viper still has 18 arbalests in that little choke point.
That's crazy.
And you can't engage!
It actually tilts me as a caster because I think we've all been there. And here comes elephants stampeding through. Norway are not done, but neither's Licks. How he showed up here of all places, I'm not sure. But he can't defend himself currently as Viper has arbs all over him. Good moment for Viper. Licks not
Really
paying
good
attention.
management. Yeah, catches all those reinforcements off guard. Only loses an arbalest for the trouble. And MBL is all over the stables from Yo.
And he's going to go all in Castle Age, Dave. He's also mixing in Pikemen.
Where's the Paladin stable?
Right next to the castle. So he chose the correct one there. How many
So
Paladins is enough Paladin is the question now.
Is it enough to save the TCs that are about to get nuked?
Paladin takes so long to research. It's halfway. But I think you could actually take this fight before Paladin. But it's not ideal.
No, I don't think you're ever winning against the elephants. Like, you'd have to just run in, kill the arbalest, and then run away.
There's
You're
a
not
lot
winning
of them.
against both of those armies.
Look what Viper's doing. Putting Norway. Giving Norway a chance. He's got split groups. He's also defending at home against Licks. He's also pushing. He's got 4 separate armies. I guess it's nice when you don't have to worry about your eco too much. But it's actually Licks who's down to 35 villagers, Dave. If Paladin doesn't do it, China are not winning this game.
Viper's doing so much at Lix's base. And meanwhile, his and MBL's economies have been safe
Yeah.
for the last little while. Viper's at 76 villagers. MBL's at 100 villagers, too.
Wow. It really did not look good after that first engagement. But Norway have stayed in it. The excellent resolve from MBL to stay alive in the 2v1 situations, and the power of Saracens from Viper, but the power of Paladin, we'll see it right now.
Paladin coming in. Elephants, like I said before, still an effective unit against Imperial Age units. So
That's
MBL staying in Castle Age, producing them, they're going to win the fight against the Paladins here.
Big time. I mean, the castle
they
goes
might be-
up.
It might be close.
I think a concern currently for MBL and Viper is that they're not walled. So Paladins could wreck their ecos. But Yo doesn't really have the best eco to continue to make Paladins. And Lix doesn't have a lot of villagers. So Lix can't send that much over. This is reboom territory for China. And then I think you just prep for the incoming wave. And here is that incoming wave, Dave. Crossbows and Paladins from Yo and Lix.
Yeah, but there's still elephants in the back of Yo's base from MBL.
Yep. It's like the
Yo
slowest raid
constantly
ever.
has to deal with that.
Slowest raid ever, but look at Viper's ARB numbers, Dave. Does he have the eco for this? He's only at 19. This game is turning a little bit.
He has no one on gold.
Without gold, what do you do? As Saracens and Yo. He's all right. He's still making Paladins, and Yo has 24 of them. MBL is on the way to the Imperial Age.
Yeah, and he's queuing up a bunch of pikemen now. It's just whether Viper can survive this.
Yeah. Viper and maybe even MBL if the Paladins go in that way. I like the castle position for Yo in the middle.
Viper's adding 2 more archer ranges. Even though he has 9 on gold now. Somewhere. Oh, to the right, I guess.
Well,
And he's still hitting the economy from Lix.
yeah, I mean, he's everywhere. This is super messy. It's not going to be perfect for anyone at this stage. The Paladinos, I was just talking about Yo sending over to clear it out of Lix's base. But can we appreciate how Lix is still contributing right now at 50 pop? He's doing a ton of damage with just crossbow.
And how MBL is contributing with Castle Age elephants. Still.
Yeah.
He's in the economy from Yo, being very annoying. He's clearing up those crossbows from Lix and Viper's base. And,
on
oh
earth?
man, how did Lix get all the way back there?
I mean, Viper just didn't have the arms. This will get cleared up, but Lix will stay here for a while. It all comes down to if Yo can win this on his own now, Dave. And I see him adding his own pikemen, I guess to match the halberdier upgrade for MBL. Paladins are just expensive, but they are the better unit. They're more mobile, and if Yo has control of them, anything can happen. But long term, it still feels like, on paper, Norway should be able to win this game and take it to game 6.
Yo still hasn't dealt with these elephants in his base.
Yeah, I guess the castle will help out. Also, Viper's still
Needs that
chasing down
food, though.
crossbows. Look at Lix. He's like, Viper even microing this as well. These players are unreal. Oh boy. Viper with the quick wall on that TC, Dave, against the Paladins as the Paladins come in. Oh, boy. Do you remember game 1 between Canada and Spain and how Hera held on for ages with Magyar Hussar?
Yep.
Yo's researching the unique tech so he can make Magyar Hussars that do not cost gold, and he could spam these things like crazy. There's real potential because there's no mobility for the Norwegians. Again, Licks, finding
Viper.
random gold.
Did you see Viper dancing with the Vills there, trying not to get hit
Yeah.
by the crossbows from Licks?
Licks is at
Oh,
40
man.
pop, bro. He's at 40 pop. He's
not
booming
even
on
40
3
villagers,
TCs.
40 pops.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I mean, it's so funny how he continues to push. Yo will have to save him. There's some paladins going over to do this now. If China win this game, I mean, they've had some crazy games in this series, right? But it'd have to be so impressive with 275 pop being the collective population for Norway.
Yeah. Well, look at MBL's Zico and look at MBL's Q now. And credit to him, tech switching right away.
Yeah.
Into Halberdier as soon as he got into Imperial.
And Malay do not get Siege Ram, but it feels like with just capturing Halb, it's an easy treb down.
They're going to Licks again, bro.
Licks. We'll get the town center up, but we'll see if it stays up. Not a treb down, excuse me, a ram down there. Here come the raids with the Magyar Hussar. Not elite yet, but will be shortly. I think Licks needs to add town centers in the north. You know? Just forget about it at this point. You're never going to
Just let the man breathe. Like, just let him breathe.
Viper's like, no, bad dog, stay down. Like, he will not allow Licks to get back into this game. He knows what Licks can do if Licks is in the game, so he just continues to pressure. Oh God! But now MVL with a great tech switch, like we said, Dave. Good castle positions for Norway. It's looking rough, and I think China have just run out of opportunities to win.
Yeah, there's the elite Magyar Hussar, and oh wait, nope, they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
MBL just cleared them up, and he's clearing up the castles as well, even garrisoning his halberdiers in them, which is a great play against Magyar Hussar.
Woo! And the GG's called. Norway pull out the stops with Saracen's Malay. It was looking rough there, but ultimately they just needed a snowball push, Dave. It didn't really come in Castle Age. It just came in early Imp.
Well, they needed that one. That was a must-win game for sure.
Felt like
Otherwise, they lose the set there. So, well played by Norway. And what a strategy, right? Malay, Saracen, elephants, and crossbows.
And that's got to be planned. That has got to be down to some preparation. And you said that in Dark Age. It's not as if they just had these civs remaining, or you wouldn't think so. They got the win with the Malay elephants. That's pretty sick in and of itself. Now, to sum this up before we go to the next game, we're definitely in a mental state where we constantly want more. So let's just back up a bit. I'm just going to try and ignore... I'm just going to try and ignore what's happening in my Twitch chat currently, because it's very distracting. What could Yo and Licks have done differently? Because they had a tremendous first fight in Castle. It's a tough ask, right?
It's a tough ask, and maybe that speaks more to the strategy of Viper and MBL, because they lost that fight so convincingly.
Yeah. I mean, MBL and Viper, it turned out being a case where Viper's eco, which is normally pretty all-in and sketch, was better than Licks. So maybe it was enough of a threat even, where Licks just said, Viper won't have farming eco, he won't have TCs, I won't. Yeah, we'll have to see. You know, this is the last bit we'll see of the 2v2 World Cup, at least the main event. Maybe that strategy will become more meta in the future, but more gold collected for Viper, way more food collected for MBL, and that was a guy going with cheap elephants, so impressive stuff. I will only be on China home maps from here on out, though.
Can I have a break now?
Yeah, go. You can go take your break. That's fine.
Nice!
The way you said it is like you're expecting me to say no. Go ahead. Sorry. All right, Dave's taking his break. This is a good time. Wow, guys, you're unreal. 23,000 people watching, which is just sick. But Father Trace gifting 100 subs. Thank you for that. That's also $100 more to the prize pool. But that's a lot of people who have the emotes now. Croco, immediately before that, gifted 50, which is just as insane. Thank you, Croco. Wow. All right. Let's prep. Okay, let's talk about this. Can Norway mount the comeback? Can they do it? It's only getting crazier from here. Team Islands and Chaos Pit are the remaining home maps. How sick would it be if we get Team Islands next and then Norway win and the all-deciding game in the final would be on Chaos Pit, which is the wackiest map we have? That would be probably a dream scenario for a tournament like this. But Team Islands is similar to Nomad, where the Chinese players play very, very good on it. Davies, thank you for the Twitch Prime text. Thank you for the Twitch Prime. Thank you for the Twitch Primes chat. I'll tell you this right now. After the finals, we'll, of course, do interviews. There will be a massive announcement. Since everyone's hyped, I figured I'd just tack on to some of that hype. All right? Let's talk expectations if it's Team Islands. Japanese, certainly a civ you'll want to see. Okay, actually, let's do this in reverse. Let's talk about Chaos Pit civilizations. Honestly, I feel like, Incas is a sure thing for China. Incas Bulgarians, maybe? Or Incas Vietnamese? I just don't know what you do on islands right now if you're China. You definitely go Japanese, but according to Yo, it doesn't matter what water civ you have as long as you win land. And that's what Lix will be doing. Could you go Vietnamese on Team Islands so you know where the players are located? Because that's something you would never be able to do. That's pretty sick, actually. I don't know. I just tried to talk through. I'm supposed to spread wisdom, but I had absolutely no wisdom there. I'm sorry if I confused you. But Portuguese is definitely going to be the water pick for Norway. And then I think they go Teutons and Byzantines on Chaos, but if they get there? But then again? No, maybe you go Portuguese Teutons here on Team Islands. Wait. It's Chaos Pit. China are not going for islands. They're going for Chaos Pit. Wow. Oh, and I didn't see that Vikings was still available there for Norway. Okay, so if it's Chaos Pit, Teutons, Byzantines, 100%. 97.1%. Because Aztecs have been used before. But I think Teutons, Byzantines makes sense. They also will expect the Inca rush from China. Guys, I haven't been a fan of the Incaville rush almost the entire time I've been watching it in this tournament. It's a fun strat to watch. I just don't think it's highly successful against good teams. If that is what China's going for and Norway are so good with defense, it's not out of the question that we could see Norway tie it up with a win here and take it to Game 7 Islands. That's true. It's Lix. That's true. It is Lix. But just things to consider. Wow. Will we see farm sling? I don't think teams really practice that. I talked about it in that YouTube video, right? I think that combining Teutons with Khmer, not on Chaos Pit, but in some situations can be nuts. Watch T90 be proven wrong. If anyone's going to prove me wrong about the Incaville rush on Chaos Pit, it would be Lix. His level is over 9,000 if villagers are fighting and towers are going up. All right. I'm spamming you with possibilities because I can't see.
I'm back now.
Oh, and you're back. Okay, and they have just launched. I speculated a ton, Dave. Chat, before we get in, and wow, okay, Aztecs it is. What in the... I was not expecting this at all. Can we get some hypes and smiley faces going for everyone who showed up today?
Can I just say I saw a name in chat.
Okay.
GX Iron, and I recognized that name, and I went back and I looked.
Yeah.
And it's a guy, he got third in the 2001 tournament for Age of Empires.
And he's in chat.
Yeah, we've got some old schoolers coming back to the game here, which is always great to see.
It's pretty freaking cool, man. Nice eye. 60 seconds. Viper has Teutons, which is definitely not a meme. It's very good civ on this because of the cheap farms and the ability to town center drop, actually, if you want to. And then Aztecs for MBL. And it is Slavs, which I don't like as much as Teutons on this map, Dave, against Incas, where we're expecting towers and vills fighting. No gold in the middle on Chaos Pit. So you need to make units that don't cost gold. That can be questionable for Incas because they need gold, and for Aztecs. The reason I like Teutons over Slavs is because Slavs are really good when they get a bunch of farms out. Games can end before that on Chaos Pit. So Teutons have a guarantee of getting to more farms, which makes the early game a bit more smooth.
I'm sure you already mentioned it, but Norway also banned Goths in anticipation of Chaos Pit.
I didn't mention that, but it was on my list of things to mention. They knew that Goths would be strong on this.
Licks with Incas is just a nightmare.
It is.
Absolute nightmare.
But so's Tato, and in the semis, Tato wasn't able to do it for his team because of the defense from MBL and Viper. Probably their best trait. Norway need a win. It has been a perfect grand final so far. Thank you guys for joining, and let's get to it. Players are very close together. Viper playing Teutons in blue. MBL playing Aztecs in green. Licks playing Incas in red. Yo playing Slavs in the yellow. And Dave, villagers will probably come out. It's very wise to send villagers forward to shoot the enemy deer if you can find them. It gets messy.
Yeah, and scouting is going to be so important here. You want to know where your opponents are taking wood, and you want to know where the resources are quickly. Viper's opting to push first instead of laming.
Yeah.
And it looks like the Chinese players, yeah, Lix is going forward with this eagle right away. And so is Yo.
Yeah, and MBL might do the same. It's kind of unlucky if you have your deer forward because that's closer to the enemy vills. But at the same time, when they shoot the deer to kill it, if they go to lame, the deer runs closer to your town center. And I've actually seen that a few times. Like look at Lix's deer, for example. If MBL wants to shoot that, after first shot, it runs forward 3 tiles, and then it's pretty close to the TC.
Lix is already sending a villager forward.
Yep. Still fighting in Dark Age. There's no bonus for that as Incas. Incas do get blacksmith upgrades, or the infantry blacksmith upgrades apply to their villagers, excuse me. He says, thank you very much. You'll boink that down. That's some food rotting, and welcome to Chaos Pit.
God, I'm like, I get in these situations all the time. We've cast so many finals, but when you're in the 6th game like this and it's so tense, I get nervous for the players.
Yeah. You see what I mean?
Really
Look at Yo. He didn't even get Loom. Yo is hoping to shoot the deer, but it goes closer to Viper's base. It's not the worst, I guess. Viper still might want to take that, but yeah, okay. China, both coming out here. MBL getting Loom so he can fight this off. But Dave, I'm with you, man. It's because the level's so high and these guys are able to execute despite all the pressure that might come in.
And MBL is perfectly comfortable. If you've ever watched MBL play, he's perfectly comfortable pulling vills and vill fighting. Yeah. That's what he does. He's might be the best player in the game at it.
He's disgusting with it. It's kind of funny because it's the same with Lix. If you try and vill fight Lix, Lix is like, oh, free kills, let's go. So, I'd say we see less of that from Lix. As he walls in his villager next to the berries, and that's another thing to talk about, Dave. You get 2 groups of berry bushes, and MBL's other one's pretty far forward. Those could be walled in. MBL will try and wall in the vill, and Lix says, see ya, I'm out of here.
I'm going to finish what I started, and I'm going to head over to your other wood line in your stone. Maybe wall that in.
I just imagine MBL's villager just groaning, like, ugh, this guy, so annoying. Get away from me. I want to go to work. Let me do my job. Overall, though, things haven't been that crazy. Viper actually chose to mill the deer there. And his berry bushes are pretty safe. And he's just now placing his lumber camp on the outer ring. You see, Yo has done so already. Lix, he wants to stay in the ring. He wants to stay in the pit, so he's just lumber camped there. MBL also chopping his way out to where more gold and stone. Well, the only gold is on the map.
MBL sending a villager out to that stone, too. I think he knows. He knows that Lix is over there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Stone being walled in. See what Lix can do. Lix
and he's healed up his eagle enough where he can take this fight.
Oh, sick. That's really well played then. Or just block. See if Lix can save this vill. He did it. Quick wall. Yeah, he's got it. Oh, he doesn't have it. Now he has
it. Now.
He's honestly Viper-esque with that. He's really good. He did that in crunch time in the semifinals on Islands, where otherwise they would have lost the game. But what if the vill just gets trapped in there?
I think Lix just deletes a wall and runs out to the right. Yep. And then maybe walls again.
If nothing else, forcing some frustration on MBL's side. But I think that villager should die. He can block. Yeah, well played, MBL. There's no way that's saved now. Just give up on him and prep for feudal age if you're Licks.
Well played by MBL. Good
Very
defense.
well played. Yeah, and good walling from Viper. Really worried about that back wood line, I'm sure, in the berry position. So he's walling from the right side to the middle. But Yo, who probably wants to go scouts, is going to be in feudal age first. So expect him to take a lead over Viper with the scouts. But we'll really see. You have to walk a long way to make that second lumber camp. So sometimes you don't even make that. He hasn't walled as much as Viper. I think Viper is playing more on the safe side. And then Licks on the way up. What about MBL? See, MBL's adding a barracks, which is fascinating. Because since Aztecs start with 150 gold, you're actually able to go for some militia and maybe some man-at-arms. But you don't compete with the towers. You don't compete with the
It's a bit late
fighting.
now, though, to do that. I think men-at-arms is probably the play if he's going for it. Or just spearman spam if we know MBL.
Yep. Well, you don't really have options without gold. Skirmishers and spearmen, you can't make scouts with Aztecs. That's why I haven't liked Incas, because they don't have long-term military momentum. But I guess if you're up against Aztecs, it's the same. MBL pretty late, Dave. Not as late as he would have wanted to be.
And he's not focus chopping at his lumber camp.
I'll look at that in a second. Yo gets the lead in the scout war. Viper pulls Vils. And that's actually pretty close. 29 HP for both. Not focus chopping. Yeah, he's just letting them chop wherever. And if he can't get out with Aztecs, that could be brutal.
Okay, so he is going for the militia here.
Okay.
He's going to run out of gold. He'll need to make a market to get some extra gold if he wants to produce some more.
He could... Man-at-Arms is 100 food and 40 gold. So he could still, in theory, make the third one and then get Man-at-Arms.
Yeah, 3.
But now...
So what do you really do with that, right? And Lix is coming forward now already.
Oh my god,
Outpost.
9? 9 villagers is crazy. The blacksmith is going up at home, so he'll get armor at least. 9 villagers against 3 men-at-arms? The villagers should win with good micro.
Especially with Yo backing him up with some scouts of his own.
Oh
and he's
god,
gonna
that's,
tower right
that's
there,
an awful
but
tower.
That's in range of the TC. That's the
Licks.
worst tower you can place.
How many towers have you placed, man? How do you not know that by now? Oh god, maybe he didn't know the TC was there and he loses a villager. Very sloppy from him. And this is all before the armor upgrades come in. Viper does
And
have
remember,
Teutons.
Viper, yeah, I was just about to say that. Viper is Teuton, so he can garrison more villagers in the tower.
So he should be able to shoot enemy towers down. Men-at-Arms in for MBL. Licks has armor, but now fighting with the Vils. Messy stuff, chaotic stuff, and the fight goes down.
It is Chaos Pit, so oddly fitting that we have all this going on in between the two bases of the Norwegians.
Mm-hmm. But notice how quickly that tower gets shot down, and you have the presence from the Man-at-Arms. Licks has so many weak villagers, Dave. It's just a matter of time until Norway is able to kill some of these. But then again, Yo with the support. 3 scouts. Viper pulling Vil. Oh, he's pulling the boys.
Pulling the boys and the girls coming forward. They know how weak these villagers are.
Yeah.
They're probably communicating saying like, oh, so many of them are below half HP. Let's just send villagers out to fight.
Is it worth it, though? Is it worth it? The tower goes up, which means Viper... not the best garrison there from Licks, but Viper will have to batter this down. I think Licks should have fought with Vils earlier. Now he's fighting with wounded units, and you have to micro them. They don't auto-attack. It's
Spearman
messy.
out from MBL. Predictable.
Yeah, Spearman and Spearman from Viper, too, and that tower really needs to take out the Spearman. I think in a little bit, Licks is going to be below 20 Vils. Unless he can somehow keep this up.
Well, Viper just lost a couple villagers.
He could lose
And
two.
he's going to have to go back. And I think Licks will actually save this tower position for the time being.
Well, you've got to... This is so wacky, man. This is so wacky. I guess you're delaying Viper while Yo's untouched, and Yo hasn't been threatened at all, which is kind of the game
Viper's
plan.
going to lose another Vil on this tower. He walled her in, but she's going to die. He has one final villager walled in against that tower, but Yo is still producing scouts, and Yo is still sending support over here.
Dave, Viper doesn't have stone income. He's not taking stone in the front. He can't make more towers. You're right. It's working out for China here. I'd say Also, if MBL can't contribute in the next age, it could be rough. He's adding an archer range now, but still has not...
MBL's through.
Okay, he is through. He just is not on gold. Hopefully no holes in the wall for MBL. Their tournament life is on the line. And the Viper, I think, should have gone to that stone early. I guess it's really close to Yo, but when you're prepping for defensive towers as that villager goes down, I'm surprised.
I guess you just want to prevent the towers from getting onto your farms, right? So right at the current moment, it's not an issue, but it will be an issue in a second here as Lix comes forward with another tower, and he's going to deny, what, 4 farms? From
4
Viper?
farms. They are cheap with Teutons, which is super nice, but also what I'm concerned about for Viper is if these towers continue to go this way, if he wants to get to the outer ring, he's going to be running into tower fire, so that's not so good, but he's doing a right move to relocate these farms. And Yo has not been able to threaten MBL with the scouts. I think Yo needs to go back over to Viper. Viper doesn't have much right now.
Yeah, good defense from MBL, just constantly producing spearmen. We see that from him all the time.
And then I think the goal here is to get MBL to Castle Age now. Get MBL to Castle Age. Get him onto some monks. I think the scouts should dive in here. You just dive right past that, and it's huge. Yep.
There's only 2 spearmen there from Viper. You can run around those, maybe try and find something to hit from him, or just engage with the spearmen.
Forging's in, Dave. So he has the extra attack, and I think Lix is just looking for that next spot to tower. And Viper now house walling. It's so crucial. He gets this. He does get it down, and he'll get it down on the other side as well. But that's Lix's opportunity. Tower that area.
Will he? Okay, nice quick walls from Viper.
MBL's keeping an eye on those villagers right now. Don't forget about the fact that MBL's untouched. MBL, 400 food, mining gold in the outer ring. That's
already setting up
pretty
walls
good.
too. Already setting up stone walls on the outer ring for MBL.
All right, so that's smart to make sure that Yo can't swoop in with the scouts. But Dave, Yo's just clicked up. Yo is clicked up, and I'm surprised that Lix is not continuing to tower. I think that he should continue to do that. Oh, he's going to MBL. Okay, that's the solution. Just go to MBL.
It would be such a Lix move there to just run in past the TC with those vills, but he opts for the safer tower on the palisade wall. MBL's forced to react with a tower of his own, and this is what I'm talking about. MBL is not afraid to fight vill on vill, even against Incas.
You do have MBL forced to build counter towers so he can't town center. He's forced to do so much here. And actually, I think this should be better for Lix. I mean, certainly denying the farms is enough, but he has 3 Inca villagers with attack upgrades on a tower. I'm looking around.
Emil's sending everything, man.
Viper
Look, he
found
sent
gold.
some from the wood at the back.
What?
Forward. He's sending all the vills forward to take out this position from Lix.
Dave, all he needs to do is delay both Norwegians, and then Yo will carry the championship home for China. All Lix's job is right now is making life hell for MBL and Viper, and he's accomplishing
Great
that.
houses for MBL. Do you see those houses in defense, preventing Lix from coming in with more villagers to support his army? MBL still has a tower there doing damage as well.
In the end, it will be 1 tower versus 1 tower. MBL's villagers are not armored. He has not clicked up, Dave. He only has 5 on food. He might not even have the buildings. He just cannot click up because of the constant pressure, and now Yo's in castle.
And this is what you were talking about. Lix, give your teammate Yo time to get in a good position, and he's in a fantastic position right now. Viper is not threatening him at all, and Yo even has scouts on the outside.
Just passing. Where are those scouts, Dave? Oh, yeah, Viper isn't walled yet.
Oh, this could be very bad for Viper indeed. Armor on the scouts and forging on them too.
This is over.
Light cav coming in.
This has to be over, right? If Viper doesn't have a miraculous quick wall on the gold, even if he has a miraculous quick wall on the gold, it feels like Yo is just going to kill everything.
And Lix is cutting off MBL's TC from the rest of his eco.
I don't know what MBL does here, really, except get some support, but he can't get support because Viper fell so far behind.
Viper's gold is dead.
Yeah, it loses 3 vills. There's some quick walling, but we'll end up losing 5 in total.
Viper actually, oh my god, he actually walled in, he walled in a light cav on the right side of the map.
I would look at that. I mean, as he did that, he lost 5 villagers, you know, so if they were winning, it'd be super impressive, but MBL, who's 20% of the way to Castle Age, is dying. That's such a Viper thing, though. Yeah, the gold miners will go down. He can't stay behind palisade walls forever, Dave.
This looks like the end of Team Norway.
I think it
The
is.
favorites coming into this tournament.
Yo and Licks, they can be doubted. They're still going to get to tournament finals. They're so good. And the GG's called. What an amazing performance from Yo and Licks. Almost, I'd say about most of the games, except for maybe one or two, it felt like the preparation was better, Dave. Not necessarily gameplay, because both teams are so good, but the strategies that they went for, maybe exception of the Team Acropolis game, felt better than Norway's strategies. And MBL and Viper, they had an amazing tournament as well. They breezed through the groups. They played fantastic in the quarters. They beat Spain, who it was determined is the third best team in the world in the bronze match yesterday, with 4-2. And I'm running out of words to describe Yo and Licks because they've been doing this for freaking years, man. So sick.
And it feels like, a lot of the time Licks, maybe a player who's hit and miss, but he was definitely all hit today. Licks brought his A game, and he enabled his ally Yo to boom behind on a lot of these victories and just steamroll from that point. I mean, what a fantastic showing. The teamwork is off the charts for these two. And, if we have another 2v2 tournament coming up, they're definitely the favorites heading into that.
Yeah. Now, I didn't want to say this because had China lost today, it would have been, focused on something other than the games. And maybe it's incorrect to say it now, but Yo messaged me at like 11 p.m. my time. He's like, hey, quick question for you. I know the finals are supposed to be after the third place match, but is it possible we can do earlier? And I was like, sorry, Yo. Unfortunately, the times are scheduled weeks in advance, so I couldn't really do much for him. And he said, oh, okay, I'm okay with playing it this time because I think it's 5 a.m. right now in China. He's like, I'm okay with playing it this time because I normally do, but Licks might be a little tired.
He didn't look tired.
No.
He looked like maybe he was. He looked like he wanted to finish the set off early.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive, but wow, what a performance. But guys, one thing I have to say about Viper and MBL, and I'm actually going to see as we bring Yo in here for the interview in a second, if maybe Viper and MBL want to hop in. They might not want to. They don't have to, of course. It wasn't part of the plan. But for all their dominance, MBL and Viper and Norway, they're extremely humble in victory and defeat. So but props to Yo and Licks, Dave. I had so much fun. What was the best game of the final? Can we even choose one?
I don't even know. It seems like they were all...
They were all good.
Yeah.
Game 1 was sick. Scandinavia was sick. There were some fast games. Like, this was just excellent strategy, and they made it look so easy. The win that Norway had on Team Acropolis was the same, and that was interesting. Valley was sick. Yeah, they were all so good. I'm very happy with that. All right, guys. Let me find out what the game plan is as far as interviews go.
And before you head away,
yeah,
chat, because I see the viewer numbers dropping, but before you head away, there is an announcement. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's an announcement at the end of the stream, correct?
There is. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
Stay.
Thank you, Dave. It's the type of announcement that only those who stay deserve to hear. So if a few people leave, it's their fault for not knowing about it. But yeah, let's not speculate too much. I'm going to give the option to Viper and MBL to join if they want to. Of course, the plan is to get Mr. Yo in here. Guys, we're going to have a quick break. I'm going to play this video for the final time. This has been reworked for the final weekend, so we might as well get our money's worth as we get the players in. All right? It'll be 2 to 3 minutes before we have that winner's interview.
melting this TC. It's the MTC 91%, 92%. It goes down. The villagers will follow.
There's so much energy in chat right now. We want the interviews. Why are you playing this video? This video is amazing. Ah, everyone is just so hyped up. Mods, good luck with that. Okay, so the plan is to have the captain of China, Mr. Yo, join us for an interview in just a second. And if you heard the interview yesterday, Lix does not speak English very much at all. So he's not going to be able to be here. Yo will speak on his behalf. And then I haven't got confirmation yet, but I did invite Norway to join as well if they wanted to. Of course, they don't have to. I see MBL's in one of my voice rooms, so maybe MBL wants to join. If MBL, if you're listening to stream, feel free to join up. By the way, I think Robo can tell you. But Yo has not arrived yet, so I'm back in. MBL, hello, man.
Hi.
How's it going? Yo should be joining, and there he is, Mr. Yo. How's it going?
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, congratulations, Yo. How does it feel?
I'm happy, really happy. And it's always good to have a championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this will be a bit of a different style interview because we have Yo here for his team and then MBL and Viper as well. I'm going to go through and we're just going to start off and talk through the games, I think, to get both teams' perspectives because there were so many really good games. Mr. Yo,
Yes.
It was an awkward spot for you with your gold game one. Can you talk me through your mindset when you saw that MBL had a forward villager at your base, killing your ostrich and walling in your main gold?
I didn't know he was going to wall my main goal back then. I just thought he went straight home after killing my deers. So I was kind of surprised, and it really did a good damage to my war plan. I have to take the outside gold.
Yeah.
It was so risky. It was really smart move by him, I think.
Okay. And MBL, was that another one of your strats where you just thought, hey, this is a good idea, or was it something you guys thought about?
Very spontaneous. Yeah, I wanted to maybe find an elephant to kill.
Yeah.
Then I couldn't find any elephant. Just found some cute little ostrich, killed them, and then I was thinking I sent a villager for it. I need to do some little more damage than this, and then I found his main gold, and yeah, I also pretended like I sent the villager away. So
okay, so it was intentional to be sneaky. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Viper, you had a rough time in that game, but what do you think overall, kind of, because it was so close, turned the tide towards China?
I think the biggest issue was that we ended up with our strong player was range units and their strong player was cavalry, and so they had all the mobility as well.
Yeah.
And then Lux is really good at being annoying with what he has and always making what he has count. And then Yo obviously playing really well with the cavalry raiding and active all the time. So I think the biggest difference there was mobility in the end.
Okay. Yo, did you guys think you were dead at one point in that game? Because it was really close.
No, we didn't think we were dead, but we knew we were really behind in some point, but we were never going to give up.
All right, cool.
I
Dave,
don't think they were behind in Arabia.
it was honestly super close. I feel like what Viper said was just the mobility, right? It was 50-50. The Arbs had their time window, and the Cavalier also had their time window. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lix did a great job in that game because you did a lot of damage to Yo when you were in early with the crossbows. And then Viper came over with the scouts, and Lix managed to sneak into Viper's eco into that very open
He's
map.
very sneaky.
Yeah. Understatement, I think.
Uh,
All right, game 2. God, I forget already. Oh, it was Scandinavia. I want to start with Norway. Team Islands was potentially on the cards. Nomad was potentially on the cards, and you did have good Nomad civs. What was the game plan, Viper, with Italians, Persians, when you pretty much know they're going to have Mongols on the enemy side?
Well, both Italians and Persians are really good hybrid civs, so we were kind of hoping that there would be water on the sides, so we could play like 1v1 sort of on water, and then also play like, you know, hybrid style.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, water again was behind us, so we just kind of had to improvise. And I think we were in a really good spot there, but I think MBL had bad luck with like one tile gap, and then it all kind of.
yeah, I threw that game for us. So.
But still, I mean, like the way Lux always is so annoying with everything he does. Like,
Yeah.
I did have an awkward hill there with both my goals forward, but still, Lux has to do what he has to do, and he makes it so hard to actually like. You don't get any smooth games ever when you play with Lux, and that's something he does really well.
Yo,
I mean, you don't get smooth games, but
I'm sorry, Viper. Go ahead.
No, I just said, well, Yo gets smooth games, but we don't.
Yo, does Lich talk a lot? Is he like, oh, I'm in his walls, I'm making a barracks? Does he tell you, or is he just like?
Yeah. He's talking a lot.
Yeah.
By the way, I have him in the voice chat with me. So if you have any question, you can just ask me.
Oh, wow, I wasn't expecting this. Well, I don't know. Ask Lix how it felt to have a barracks within MBL's walls.
Okay, let me ask him that.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm curious what he has to say.
Ni hao.
I know MBL's gonna have. I really want to hear MBL's thoughts on that, but we'll wait.
Don't ask him.
I was like bitching the whole game. Viper was like,
that's annoying
have
after
to
a
think
while.
positive.
Yeah,
you're just building yourself down, and I was like
you don't build
swearing
yourself
and
down.
like this little fucking villager running around everywhere.
5 militia, a barracks. I love how you
swear.
walled it in later too. Like,
It's
just
like,
it's done.
Yeah, it's like I was so close because of I was so close with walling as well, which made
Yeah.
it so much more annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Trust me, Dave and I get it. It's just fun to be on the other side. So.
I think in anger, I sent my whole town to chase that shit. You know, like I was so angry, just wanted to kill it, and then I couldn't kill it even with my whole town. So.
That's
okay.
a
Nick
long
said
sentence.
it's really important that he get inside MBL's hole, so he can protect my economy, so I can go rush not rush, like go water.
Yeah.
With MBL. Yeah.
All right. So I was kind of hoping that Lix would be like, it was really fun to annoy MBL and only say that.
Yeah.
But that's the professional response from Lix. So I like it. It really, I mean, civs definitely matter a bit, but I think otherwise Norway would have had big advantages in Castle Age. Dave, I don't know if you had any of your questions about that game. That was pretty crazy.
Nope.
Okay. Game 3?
I don't think it's so important for Lix to get into my hole, but
yeah.
Other than that, okay, game 3, yeah, continue.
MBL, just for your sake, I think we'll move on from that game.
Yeah,
he's not over
it. And it was Team Acropolis. And Viper, what were you expecting from China at this point? Because you already played quite a few games. It's easier to guess what civilizations might be chosen there.
Yeah, I mean, we were sure they have seen our game from yesterday, and we were expecting them to use Berbers there. We weren't sure how they would approach it, though, but we figured that Indians should be a good counter to both Cumans and Berbers. I mean, they picked what we thought they would pick, so MBL could just go camels, and then I would put some pressure to try and slow them down a little bit, give MBL a smooth ride, and then eventually I would be able to transition to Aramba anyway, and then I can just play a big Aramba and sling some food as well if necessary. And yeah, I mean, it kind of played out exactly how we wanted it to.
Okay, cool. Yo, was it a surprise that Norway played that differently than how they did against Spain yesterday?
Yeah, it was definitely a big surprise from Viper. Uh, Actually, our original plan was like go fast castle, like really fast, selling stone, and when he sees Viper going forward, he just stop that strategy, and then go normal fast castle. I
Yeah.
think, and I shouldn't have made my TC down the hill. I should just make it in my base. That way, I could have saved many wheels.
Yeah,
We can still have chance if I do like that.
you lost a lot of villagers and you continued to fight on. What chances
Yeah.
do you think you had at that point? I mean, you made it active, but it was a
Well,
tough
it's
one.
final. You don't you don't really want to give up fast.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. MBL, do you think you would have been successful with the camel Maganel push if the TC was up on that hill instead of at the bottom there?
I think so, but it makes it easier to have the hill bonus.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And potentially couldn't kill that many villagers because he had to run. Oh,
fair.
I got so many good shots with those Meganels.
It probably felt good after game 2 to be able to do that.
That did feel good. Yeah.
Okay. Dave, feel free to hop in here at any time.
Yeah, going into the next game, Nomad. Yo, you guys picked maybe an unorthodox civilization there, the Koreans. What was your thought process with Koreans in Nomad?
Korean is always strong. In Nomad, if you play enough Nomad, you will know that. But I mean, everyone thinks it's a shitty civ, but it's really not. And Lex is good at it. Good at using Korean. So we don't think we are really have best side on the civs.
Is that a civ that you think high level players underrate too, or just like casters like us?
I don't know. Just ask MBL. What does he think?
Yo's coming out with the savage burns today. What is going on?
Well, it doesn't matter what civ you are. As long as I get a cast on my feudal TC, I'm dead anyway. So.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, was it? Geez, that game was so messy. I almost Viper. What do you think made the difference there for you guys? Because obviously you got to conks and you're able to get to a lot of them, but it wasn't the easiest ride to get there, I suppose.
I think just really unfortunate map spawn. There was golden stone was so far for me, and it was just really hard to. I found a stone on the right side later, but I'd already sent everything to the left side before I found that stone. And even then, I have the stone, but gold as well was still on the left side. So I think Nomad games for me and NBL so far, we've had really bad luck with the spawns, and then obviously playing against Yo and Lix, who are masters of Nomad, they're gonna punish us to the fullest with that.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. That's Nomad, right?
Yeah, I think I just lack experience in Nomad in general, and that's why I can't I normally can't find a good team play for that map. I think that the Chinese team is really good at like coordinating things in Nomad, and I have no clue what's going on. That's pretty much it. Just try to play the meta all the time and take it from there. So Nomad is probably something I should get more experience in.
Okay.
For more tournaments.
Yeah, that's fair.
And stop saying Arabia when we're playing team games. All the time.
But I hate Nomad.
I need more experience on Nomad. I hate Nomad.
in the Nomad game, was your plan to go into scouts?
No. I was going to fast castle, then I just saw NBL make a barracks right in front of my face.
Okay.
Then I panic, then I go scouts.
MBL, did you know that Yo was there when you made the barracks?
No.
I knew MBL was there though.
Yo, ask if Lix is still there. See, the thing is, as a caster, I ask questions that have obvious responses, which is making this weird. But ask him the thought process about opening up with the galley and how he enjoyed killing fishing ships with that.
How he enjoyed.
Ask him about the galley. Ask him about the single galley in Nomad. It might not even be a big deal for him, but it was for us. So.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing is like, Lix is just gonna say there were fishing ships there, so I tried to kill fishing ships. Yeah, I think we might get a doubt response, but I'm curious. He did a lot of damage there.
It's fine, dude. Every single player interview ever, the casters look like idiots. So we're just setting the bar,
Ah, there we
you know,
go. Okay. Would you agree
living
with
up to
that?
expectations.
MBL and Viper, do we always look like idiots?
No.
You sound like idiots as well.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
All right. It's fine. I gave you the opportunity to make the joke.
Dude, every interview we
okay.
come into, we get roasted, so we can fire some back.
That's
Okay,
fair.
Lix said he killed a lot of fishing ship from Viper, and he feel like Viper is really slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait a
Whoa.
second. Does that mean he thinks Viper's a slow player, or he just was slow to react?
Slow to react.
Okay,
I
all right.
think.
There's a difference there. That makes sense. Viper, you saw that galley. Did you assume with the patrol that it was cleared out, or I guess there was a lot going on
Oh.
at that time?
I knew it was there, but I was about to be done fishing there anyway, so
Okay.
it was more trying to kill Lix's fish as well. But
Fair enough.
yeah, I mean, I couldn't. The goal was so awkward. I didn't have goal to do anything until late in the game, so couldn't really fight back.
Okay. I'm really excited about the next game. Tell me about Malay Saracens. I don't know if comes down to something pre-planned or just civilizations you had remaining on the draft, because Malay was pretty late. Viper, was that something you guys had talked about or just decided on doing when you saw the civs there?
It was accident.
Okay.
We didn't have enough cavalry civs, so we kind of just made Malay play scouts into elephants and went full ham in Castle Age.
Okay. It was pretty sick. Did you guys think that was dangerous? You took a really good fight when the army was in Lix's base, and it looked good from there, but then they turned it around.
Yeah, MBR has a good economy and keep making these elephants, and it's so annoying. And it's impossible to fight them.
Yeah.
But we should have just. I don't know. I shouldn't use my knight to go with Lix, and instead I should just try to raise their economy. That could
Okay.
be better, I think.
Is that the first time you faced up against elephants in that type of a scenario? Because I know, obviously, Malay have made elephants in 1v1s in some situations, but in 2v2, I think it's a first for me.
No, actually, it's not first for me.
Okay.
Because I have seen Finland players do that a lot, but I haven't seen like this for a long time, I think.
Okay. All right.
Even themselves don't use elephant this much.
All right. Cool. And then, I mean, that game was wild. Viper, were you guys worried at some stage after that fight and you lost your crossbows, or did you still feel like the power spike potential was going to give you an opportunity?
We obviously would have liked that fight to go better.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we didn't feel over the moon after that. But at the same time, we knew that MBL had a little bit of eco. I'm still Saracens, so we knew there was always a chance. And it got a little bit scary there when Yo got to Imp. But I think I found a good spot there to trade okay. And then when MBL's Elephants came, it all kind of just worked out for us. But yeah, it was definitely dicey early Castle Age and potentially early Imp as well.
Okay. Awesome.
Mousepad. Why is your chat spamming mousepad?
Because Robo told me that you were using a hairdryer before the games. Do we want to talk about that? What happened?
Well, I spilled water on my mousepad and I got a hairdryer, blew the mousepad dry.
Okay. I was worried that I was really worried that you spilled water on your keyboard and it wasn't working and we had to delay or something. So
No. It's fine. Viper just left Discord meanwhile.
Dude, I don't want to listen to that.
wait a second. You stayed in Discord with your mic on while you were using the hairdryer?
Yeah. I
He doesn't even mute himself.
Well, I would leave Discord too, MBL. Mute your mic. Damn. All right, that's funny. All right, so then what ended up being the final game was on Chaos Pit, and I think you kind of knew what was coming, Norway. How confident are you? You kind of talked about it yesterday when you have Lix with Incas.
Well, Lix with Incas is just unstoppable, I think.
Yeah.
we were struggling which map we should pick because we still have Team Islands,
Hmm.
and we see the Sift, and Lex said he can use Inca in the Chaos Pit. Then we decide to go that map
Okay.
because he's really good at it.
Yeah. I feel like we should ask Lix a question about this because the reason you were able to carry in that game was because of him, but I can't really think of anything.
Well, if you notice, I forgot to click up to cast stage. That's something.
Well, I
I
noticed
don't
you had the res, and then a lot of bad things happened, and then I noticed you still hadn't clicked. So you just straight up
The
forgot to
whole
click?
fight, the whole fight, I thought I was up,
Ah,
and then I realized I wasn't. But it didn't really matter. Yo was too far ahead. It was really insane by Lix to go like 20 wheels forward to my base when I
mhm.
was untouched, and suddenly just go all in there. That was a very good move. And I think that the biggest difference there was kind of like them having access to Incas, because Incas is so tough to stop on Chaos Pit. I mean, it's not like they win without, like, they kill themselves basically, but they're really good taking down 2 players or delaying 2
Yeah.
players.
Delaying 2 players, yeah. I guess
Mhm.
if you compare it to how Tato played in the semifinals against you guys, Tato kind of went forward and focused more on towers, but then stopped. And Lix just said, whatever, I'll send everything, and committed
Yeah, he
more.
built towers all around Viper, and then he built towers all around me. So like, if you have a circle of towers around the TC, then you can't farm around it. You have to, yeah, it's a struggle.
Okay. Well, yeah, guys. Norway, thanks for stopping in here. I enjoyed watching you guys so much. We had so many great games, whether it was in the early group stage for the memes with Viper making 100 million Arbalest, or the really competitive games. There's no doubt after watching both teams today that you two are the top teams in the world. The
Well, I
quality's
think
insane.
there are more teams in the world that are top, because we are not really a team in Viper. We are more country people, you know.
Yeah, that's what I
Uh,
mean. But yeah.
yeah. So, but it was a pleasure playing with Viper. He's a really great player, and I had fun. I really liked the tournament, and congrats to China. I'm sorry I couldn't perform well today, but I think we had a good run after all. But yeah,
MBL, I have a question for you before I let you go.
okay,
Obviously you would have wanted to win here, right? But when
yeah,
DE first came out in November, for the first couple months, your game was just dropping like crazy, right? You couldn't get into a rhythm.
true.
A few tournaments happened, and I feel like you didn't feel like you're playing your best, and it was just a struggle to get in sync with DE. And then King of the Desert, granted, there were some factors there. You had a good showing to make it to the final. And
Mm-hmm.
then here, you guys made it to the final here. Of course, you want to win finals, but do you feel like you as a player are much better now on DE than you were, say, I don't know,
Yeah,
nine,
I
10
feel
months
fine.
ago?
I do feel fine now. It's more small things like daily shape and stuff that determines
Okay.
how good I play. But I feel good. It's no doubt about it. I feel like I can take on anyone, but I definitely don't feel like I can be the best player in the world. But if there, I feel like I can push maybe to a tournament win or tournament final. I can push it as much as possible. But
Okay.
I still think the competition has never been higher. I think, like, you saw all the good teams how close they were.
Yep.
So yeah, it's kind of like me and Viper could probably win China on a different day, and then they could win us. It just completely depends on strategy, saves, and how we feel,
Okay.
and preparation. But yeah, all credits to China for winning today. This is when it matters. So yeah, really felt but I'm happy with where we got, and
Hmm.
definitely, of course, would like to win and make my Viper proud and make Norway proud, but not this time. China is probably the proudest country today.
I'm proud of you, MBL. That was a good speech.
Oh, Viper.
All right. Well, um, thanks, guys. Viper, I would ask the same for you before I let you go, I suppose. Obviously, wanting the win here, but would you agree with MBL that the competition is just higher than ever when it comes to team games and also 1v1s?
Probably, yeah. That makes sense with the landscape of the Age of Empires right now. So it adds up, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, but I feel like this tournament, probably Norway and China were a step above the others.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if there was another 2v2 tournament 1 month from now, we could easily be out in the round of 8th all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's the high level is that high.
Cool. And it's also event after event after event, so a lot of consistency
Yeah.
needed. Cool. Yo, congrats
Yes.
again, man. Thank you for hopping in here. You guys looked really good. I feel like you watching all the games paid off and preparation paid off. And tell Lix that he's definitely earned a lot of fans because there's a lot of new people watching, and I think most of those new people see you all the time. But Lix definitely earned some fans. So
Okay.
yeah.
I will.
I want to ask you, Yo.
Lex
Oh,
also
go-
want to say hi to you.
Oh, well, hi,
I
Lix.
know.
I want to ask you about your year too, Yo, because obviously you've had some really good performances. You won Red Bull. You've had some really good placements, and then finally you win 2v2 World Cup. How does the year 2020 feel to you in terms of like Age of Empires, in terms of your performance? Is this the best you've ever had?
Yes, I feel so complete. Yeah, I have a champion in 1v1. Now I have a champion in team games. I mean, 2v2 count as team games, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. It's great to hear. Well, guys, there's going to be plenty more events. Kind of have a bit of an announcement here in a second, so I think some of you guys might know about that. But thank you very much. I'm pumped for you guys going forward. You guys are tremendous players. You guys want more
Show the
opportunities to
announcement.
play. So no. I will. I got some things to do.
Shut up and show the announcement.
MBL, don't make me kick you, man.
Okay.
Thank you, Yo. Thank you, MVL. Thank you, Viper. You guys are all great.
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, congrats.
Congratulations. Amazing
Thanks.
performance.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you guys.
All right.
See you.
Yep, later.
All right.
Dave, massive props to Norway there for hopping in here after losing. They, of course, wanted to win, and they showed all the class in the world with the
Can we just-
interview.
Yo burned me so hard, and I was the only person. I want to say I was the one guy saying they're gonna pick Koreans on Nomad,
Yeah,
and then I asked him about it. A curse of the caster.
That's
Curse of the
so
caster.
funny.
He's like, maybe you should play more Nomad.
the way he said it,
I'm
it
over
was he had a bit of a tood, bro.
I know. That's the risk you take being a caster, though. When you ask obvious questions like that, then it's just
It's funny
you
to
get burned
me.
for it.
It's funny to me because you love Nomad and have played so much more Nomad than probably any other caster in the scene, and then Yost made that joke to you. So awesome. Well, Dave, it was a pleasure. We've been here many, many times. The final was so sick. We don't always have our day, but I feel like we had a pretty solid day as far as casting is concerned, and the games delivered. It was a beauty.
Mm-hmm. And what a phenomenal showing from China. I feel like we didn't. Yo seemed kind of tired there, so we didn't really ask him that many questions. But like, it was just amazing the performance they put together, Lix and him. Just the pressure they put on Norway. They made Norway look like a team that wasn't the favorite coming into the tournament.
Yeah, and I think yeah, and it was probably slight favorite because of how dominant China have been, but it's just the NBL Viper effect. They're so good in 1v1s. You see them, and the question was always, are they going to be as together as Yo and Lix? And the answer is no. Lix just compliments Yo so well. I don't know if anyone has the clip, but Yo was like, he's my perfect partner yesterday. It was so sweet, man. He loves playing with
and
them.
He said he feels complete today.
I know.
It's so wholesome.
So wholesome.
I love you, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dave, I've got to kick you out because I have to talk to the stream about this. Thank you again, bro.
Yeah, and don't forget, chat, there's a big announcement coming up, but don't forget Silver League is still going on for World Cup 2v2. And it will probably be cast more often, so make sure you tune in and catch that. Yeah. Keep your stick on the ice. It was fun. See you later, guys.
Salutes in chat for Dave. Use the Dave emote if you can. Thanks to Dave. I love casting with Dave, man. I'm really thankful to be able to just chill out with one of my best friends and cast games, and that's essentially what Dave and I do. So we have a love for the game. Maybe not a love for each other as strong as Lix and Yo, but maybe close. I don't know.